Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. That's
Come
your
on.
name. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take the chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see, we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it, boo. See, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor, and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet, and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it. That shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying. We can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take the chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Look, I see you swag different. Always carry yourself like you ready, you know the mission. I had to know you, I'm Tim. I can see why you timid. Hold up now, baby, listen. Just take that dance with me, I can show you that there's a difference. I'm locked in. I throw away my playaways because you pop in. A shooter always shoot a shot. With you by my side, I guarantee we'll reach the top. I put that on God and then I give you all that I got. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying. We can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take the chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming. You can find me on Twitter, on this channel, and also the Game Drain channel, which is a different YouTube channel. But let's keep it here today. I have an awesome guest here with me that goes by the name of Sensei. On Twitter, you can find him at SenseiK1lls with a 1 instead of an I. After the K. But
Nice. Okay.
I'm trying to remember this stuff off the top of my head, doing my best, bro. But anyways, let's get into it. What's going on, dog? How you doing? Let everybody know where they can find you and yada yada. You already know how that kind of stuff goes.
What's up, brother, man? This has been a while, man. It's been a while to make it. We've been at this going back and forth to get for us to meet up and do this thing. And it's always one thing or another. I'm sick or vacation or something's going on where we couldn't get this going. But man, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm SenseiK1lls on the video game world. They can find me in Twitter. Like you said, Sensei K with the number 1, 2 L's and an S, and my YouTube channel, which is over on YouTube under Sensei. You can Sensei's Thoughts podcast, which I co-host a podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, as well as dropping daily content from Monday to Friday. I drop like a game that's on my radar. I talk about it for a few minutes, short form, and it's on there Monday through Friday. You guys go check that out.
Absolutely, absolutely dope, man. Good to have you here finally. As you were saying, yeah, we've been kind of working on making this work. Like you had an issue, and then I had an issue, and it's just
Oh
like
yeah,
bouncing back and forth all over the place. And it's just life. Life happens. It is what it is. Ain't nobody tripping at the end of the day because this is pretty much for fun for
it's the
fun for the
life of
most part.
content creators, right?
Yeah. I mean, until I start getting paid, I ain't getting frustrated at nothing. So so I ain't tripping about a
That's
damn
right.
thing. But welcome everybody to the show. You're more than welcome to ask questions about Sensei if you have any questions for him in the chat. I believe he's watching the show as well, so he'll see anything that comes through, and I will definitely go through the chat and make sure if you guys have any questions to ask him in case he misses anything. But as I said, fantastic to have you. If you guys are wondering what I've been playing, you can see it right above. I've been playing all of these different games from Gran Turismo to Asphalt Legend. I mean, Uncharted
All
throughout the
those
series,
systems.
and yeah,
All right.
yeah, man.
I see it.
Yeah. Stay working on my gameplays and stuff like that, so the folks out there can check it out. But anyways, I want to know what you've been dabbling in lately. What kind of games have you been playing, and what's kind of going down? We need to know this stuff before we get into the meaty topics of today. So go
Oh,
ahead and let
yeah,
them know.
so if you guys have been following me on Twitter, like this month I decided to go for the achievement hunting and going after some achievements. I'm doing that, but I've been playing a lot of Naraka Blade Point. Um, Freaking phenomenal game. Love the game. Been playing a couple, a bunch of that game. Finished up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. Still my go-to game would be the Cold War, Call of Duty Cold War, the Call of Duty franchise, but minus Vanguard. Can't do Vanguard. But the Call of Duty franchise, still playing that with the Cold War. Been playing that a lot and catching up on some TV shows. The Boys. You watching The Boys?
I haven't seen. I think it's just
Oh,
this most recent season because they're on season
okay.
3 right now, right?
They I believe yes, they're on season three. I believe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I
It,
binge watch, so I don't really realize what episode or
if it's season 3, then I have seen the first 2 seasons. But
okay.
if it's season 4, then I got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
Um, I just can't have so many damn subscriptions going on at the same time.
Oh, I hear you.
So like when I cut one on, I cut off a different one. And
That's what I do. I rotate them. Like when there's a show that comes on, I'll subscribe. I'll watch the show, finish it. The season's over. Unsubscribe. Oh, that's something else on the other one. I'll get on that. Just smart. Smart. That's very smart.
yeah. You gotta exchange it and whatnot. So your
Of course.
bills look similar every month
Correct.
instead of having a $200 bill and not knowing that you have like 9 different services.
Otherwise, subscribe back to cable, right? Like go back to the wire and just do that because it's like crazy.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. But anyways, yeah, man. So you've been all over the place. Any games that you are looking forward to that are coming to Game Pass here shortly? I know we kind of
Um,
briefly talked about it.
I
I'm just
I
gonna go
I've
ahead
been
and
through.
cut in. I'm gonna go ahead and cut in and say my daughter is so excited for Peppa Pig. She is
Oh,
so
you did it.
excited
You
for
did it.
Peppa Pig.
You did it. We were just talking about that right before we went on live. Peppa Pig is a game that I was gonna end up purchasing, but then I said, let me wait. I don't know if you ever get this gut feeling where you feel like when a game is presented, it almost feels like if I wait long enough, that'll be on Game Pass. That was Peppa Pig. It was like I think if I wait long enough, I'll get that game
Oh,
on
you
Game Pass.
know.
Oh, I'm glad the FOMO didn't kick in there, and Peppa Pig is coming. But for this year, for me, I just dropped a video on it yesterday, today. Actually, Scorn is the one I'm waiting for. That's coming out in October.
Yes, sir.
Ever since they showed that off, dude, the world of just the alien-esque world of it, like it has that like that atmosphere, the music, the puzzle, the gory look to it, and like just the characters, like the world is the character. When you're playing it, is what it looks like. It's alive. So when they showed that game off, when I first saw it last year, I said, "Man, I can't wait for that game." It was supposed to come out last year. Disappointed it didn't drop, but then now it looks like October 22nd will be dropping this year. So that's one of my anticipated games this year. It was Starfield, but we all know what happened there. But now it's
Yeah.
well, I'll retract that. It wasn't really that much Starfield because I didn't know what it was until I knew what it was, and then they said delay. I'm like, oh, now that I know what it was, you're delaying it. Great. So it was Starfield when I knew what it was, but now it's scoring for good reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that game that I'm looking forward to, and then a little bit after that game comes out, I believe, or maybe around that same time, that Rick and Morty like kind of the High on
Ooh,
Life
the
game.
High on Life. Ooh,
Yeah, bro. Just the way that the guns look and they talk to you, and bruh, like I was looking at that and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
dude, it's right up our alley as gamers, bro. That's it right there. Like I'm even happy that they mentioned with that game because what I was worried about that game is that the guns will repeat themselves
Right.
as far as the talking. But they said no, it'll keep saying different things. For every gun is unique to itself, and the lines that they talk are different. I'm like, oh great, yes. So that's a game I can't wait either. That's on Game Pass, man, from the Rick and Morty people. Is this their first game?
No.
Like video game?
Not. I don't think so. I think they had.
Oh,
I think they had one other game before this that was
okay.
kind of a big hit, but I don't even know what that game's called. So help me out in the chat if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
But yeah, I'm not finna look that up right in the middle of the podcast right now. But anyways, so a question that I did not get to ask you before we started the show because I was helping my daughter out and getting her all fixed up and ready for the show, or not ready for the show, but ready to go relax. Is what was like the first console that you ever played like as a kid, like the very
Oof.
first thing that you got your hands on, and this could be something that you either had in the house or went to the
Yeah,
family's or friend's house to do. So yeah, let me
definitely.
know what's going down. What was the
Um,
first one?
I have an older brother, so he introduced me to gaming as far as gaming goes, and my brother was the one that ended up getting ColecoVision. That was my first entry
Wow.
to video gaming world. But I gotta reference my father because years later, once my brother went to college and went to dorms and all that, he moved out. Um, the one system that was bought for me for the very first time was a Nintendo. That was mine. It was mine that my father bought me. I didn't share it with nobody, and that's like the very first time I literally gamed. I didn't have to wait for my brother to turn it on. There was no sharing the console. It was just me straight gaming on my Nintendo. And my very first experience on that was the Zelda game with the gold cartridge. If you guys remember that, showing my age a little bit here, but the Zelda, the original Zelda with the gold cartridge, was my very first experience in the gaming world where it was RPG and I dove into it and
You're talking
it
about the one in like the cardboard gold box with the shield
correct
on the
with the
front and
shield on it.
everything.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Hours, weeks, months upon months playing that game. I would not drop it. I finished it, played it again, and then I played it again, and then I played it again. It was just that. It was just that experience for me. It was awesome. So yeah, man, Zelda. Nintendo was my first console experience for me. Like that was mine. Even though Atari or ColecoVision was my brother's, but Nintendo, I would say.
Well, shout out to Stankma and then also Rockin' Warrior Gamecast in the chat. Good to see you guys. Thanks for giving us, your time and
All
whatnot.
right.
And
Yeah.
we definitely hope you guys enjoy the show as you kind of continue to learn a lot about Sensei and kind of how he got up into gaming, and then we'll definitely get into other questions, definitely like what he's looking forward to, like further down the line than what we're talking about, and then also what he likes, dislikes, gaming, like community and yada yada yada. We'll get into different
Yeah.
type of stuff today, but moving forward, so Nintendo was it to get you into the gaming space, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
so what was it after that? Did you end up going towards like Sega at all during that time,
Oh,
or did you
Sega, yeah.
continue with Nintendo, or did you just have both, or
I, I I
let me know.
continued getting any console and every console that came out. I had every Nintendo that came out. Super Nintendo. I had the Nintendo 64, the GameCube. I just kept going with that generation. I also had the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast. I've had them all. Moved on and then I ended up on PlayStation, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and I wouldn't say one of my favorite console. That might be a surprise to a lot out there. But my favorite console is PS2. is
Like of all
my
time?
of all time for me is PS2.
Ooh.
Just the games that was on that just was on a different level, and then my experience on that was SOCOM. Like that was my PS2. I spent
Did you
hours.
get the network adapter for the
All of it,
back and
all
screw
of
it
it,
in
a
and
hard
then
drive and all that with the headsets, the mic, the boom mic, all that. I had all of that.
oh
But
man.
I've had almost every console that's come out, almost every one. TurboGrafx 16, I had that one. Just everything. Game Boys, Game Boy Advances. Like I've had portables, consoles. I've had all of them. I never really stuck to just a one brand and kept going with that. When I was introduced to gaming, I wanted it all. I wanted to consume it all, just like I do today. I want to consume it all.
SenseiK1lls said my man's a real one.
He knows it. There you go.
He is excited to hear some of your answers. And, would you, I mean, I know the answer to this question, but just for the folks that are watching, would you call yourself an Xbox kind of centric guy at this point?
Yeah. At this point, yeah.
I always find it interesting when an Xbox centric person doesn't say like the original Xbox was, my thing. You said the PS2 because those are the same generation, right?
Right.
Xbox came just a little later, but it was literally the same generation as the GameCube, PS2, yada yada. Can you throw some other games out there for me that like really like kind of changed your perception on gaming through the PS2 era? Since you went on ahead and said that was your favorite console of all time, there must have been some life-changing things that be happening within that console. Was it just SOCOM?
It was SOCOM. It was that Jack and Daxter. It was just so many classic hits they had on that console. The Final Fantasies, the Metal Gear Solid. Those games were on a different level. Back then, having to play Solid Snake sneaking around and the boss battles you had with Solid Snake in the games. It's not like the Metal Gear Solids of now or of recent, I should say, because there's nothing really right now. But of recent, these Metal Gear Solids, you fought like the boss battles were on a different scale. It was like you had to learn how to dodge or disconnect the controller or take your memory card, put it over here and put it over there.
That's crazy.
It was very innovative for its time.
Loke, which is on the show regularly. He's another panel member of the show for every Fridays when we do bullsitting. He was talking about one of the thing that blew his mind about Metal Gear Solid is when he had to take his controller out and put it in the second slot.
Yeah,
to play the game.
Psycho Mantis.
That's insane.
That if you did not do that, he knew every single move you did. He would I forgot. I think it was him who read your memory card too. Like at the time, it wasn't something that was normal. So when they read out to you, like the enemy in the game read out to you the games you've played. I see that you play this, and I was like, huh? Wait, who? What black magic is this? Like, but as I got older, I understood. That it read my memory card. That's pretty cool. But very innovative time. So that's why I say for me, PS2 is my all-time favorite console, because it brung it like that. Like the innovation, the memories, the friends that I met, the friends I still have to today because of SOCOM. Shout out to my boy Reckless. Just there, man. Just that's it. That's the console. The experience I've had on that with those games, and the Final Fantasy. Who can't forget Final Fantasy, man? On the PlayStation, it was the game to be played. My favorite is Final Fantasy 7.
Okay. All right, so let's go back just a little bit. So before PlayStation 2, before even PlayStation, what was your life like around Sega? Like, what kind of hyped you up with Sega? Because you said you had, like, the Master System, Genesis, you had some portables, maybe. Which portables did you have for the Sega?
For Sega, I didn't have the portables for Sega. I didn't. For portables, I had, like, the Neo Geo, I think, or the Atari Lynx. I had that. But I never owned the Sega ones. Those I never owned because...
Damn, you missed out on the Game Gear and the
Nomad? I missed out on that. My cousins had it. I played it through them. I never owned one. And the battery life on that was crazy.
No, it was awful. It was awful. It was like
half
hour. 2 hours. yeah.
Oh, it was like
2 hours. 2 hours. Like it was like if you like kept everything on dim and super. Yes. Yeah. Like the brightness that it had on the
dark room.
You had to turn it into a Game Boy.
Oh yes. But for me, Sega memories for Sega would be sports. Um, like the big time, the sports was like huge on that for me. And
Yes.
then you have Ultra Beast was a huge one for me. Ultra Beast was on Genesis. That was a game changer for me as far as the morphing and the side scrolling. It's the first time I was introduced to a game that side scrolls like that. And then the noises that it make, depending on which character you pick, the lizard, the werewolf, whoever it was, like the way they changed, they made that noise. Um, it's just those games for me are what Sega, like, and of course Sonic, everybody's favorite Sonic, was another
Mhm.
game changer for me. Speed, like, wow, this guy's really fast on my TV. That has never happened before. Like Speedster, Echo the Dolphin. I don't know if you remember that, but Echo the Dolphin was another game that I enjoyed on my Sega systems throughout the
Oh
years.
yeah.
Yeah, man, every console I've owned has its mark on me, but I will go back to that PS2, man.
Okay. So Sega's had its mark with you. What was probably the most rare console of all time to have to kind of leave its
The
mark
Neo
on you?
Geo,
The
the Neo
Neo Geo. What was it? Because of fighting games?
fighting games, SNK games on that was again, it was the benchmark for fighting games when it came to Neo Geo, and it was like the first time that I got to experience gaming from an arcade level at my house when it came to fighting games. So what I played at the arcades were literally in my house in that console. Now, granted, Neo Geo didn't last long. Very disappointed. Lost a lot of money with that console. But the fact that you were able to bring home the arcades and have that quality at home, portable, and you're on a console was amazing.
Man, that's something else. I mean, especially as a kid, that had to be a freaking amazing feeling.
Hmm.
Um, so moving back towards the PlayStation, or actually, let's go on ahead and no. Let's go right before the PlayStation. So, like, I'm guessing because you said you had them all, so 64 and Super Nintendo. What were the hitters for you on those two consoles?
On the 64 and the what?
And the Super Nintendo SNES.
Super Nintendo was Mario 3 with the raccoon tail. Actually, that was Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
That was Nintendo. So
That was the OG.
let's see.
There's Super
Super
Mario
Nintendo.
World on there.
It's the one that was like 3D ish. Was that World when
Well,
they first
World.
introduced Mario 3D?
No, that was in
Not
that
3D.
that was 64. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because that one had kind of a different like Mario had like a different skin when it came to like
Yeah, it
his
kind of
flying
went
and stuff
away
like that.
from the original Mario, traditional Mario that they had on that one.
Right now, when you finish a level, you're jumping into like what looked like a goalpost.
Yes. But Super Nintendo, oh my God, Super Nintendo. Let's see. I think for Super Nintendo was the Street Fighter games, the Street Fighter Turbo, like those fighting games, and introduced that to the Super Nintendo side of things. I enjoyed those a lot on that. I think you found the one console, even though I had them, that probably didn't leave a mark on me, man. I can't think too much about the Super Nintendo. You stumped me on that.
Wow. Okay, so then
I played a lot of
64.
games. Yeah, that's the one. The Super Nintendo 64. Wait, Super Nintendo, right?
No, the N64, and then there's the Super Nintendo. Those are the two different things. So
Yes.
you know the 64 is the one that had like the expansion pack that you put in with GoldenEye and all that.
I don't think I've owned. No, I didn't own the. I'm old, bro. I don't think I owned that one,
You sound like you never even heard of it.
bro. I may have had it, but I'm old, bro. Like I'm not a young buck, bro. Like I can't. My memory is not what it used to be.
Bruh, the 64 is legendary, bro.
It is. It is.
Um,
Damn.
that's where Super Smash Brothers made its first appearance.
Okay.
Absolutely
You gotta,
love that.
you gotta school me, man. You gotta school me. You gotta jog back my memory. I gotta take my memory pills.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good. So moving forward, I'm just kind of curious now. Like, so you said Metal Gear Solid was super duper dope. What was some like different, like wild kind of games that you played with your PlayStation specifically? Like the most rare one for me was probably like was probably Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Fighter 22 back before it got its American copy. You ended up having
before the American copy.
Yeah. I had to get the Game Shark CD with the memory card, and it came with a spring in it, and it kept it kept the CD moving while the disc tray was open on the PlayStation, and you were supposed to keep it open when you put the Game Shark thing in, and have the memory card in there, and then you select like that you're playing a Japanese game or whatnot, and then it would tell you, all right, remove the disc from there. And
I feel like we grew up in alternate universes.
Like I'm saying, the PlayStation was innovative, bro. You're talking about like Solid Snake and stuff like that. You could do that and then take the disc out and then put in your Japanese game, and it would read the Japanese game. I
wasn't too much into that scene, like the whole Japanese gaming thing. Even though I had a Japanese console, I wasn't too much into that scene. And what you're telling me is like, holy shit, for real?
Yeah, the things you had to do to, I
remember blowing on a cartridge on Nintendo. I remember blowing on a cartridge to Nintendo, or having a second cartridge because the springs would not let the cartridge sit down, so you had to put another one on top to hold it in place. But that what you're talking about on a PlayStation? That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it was really cool. I played that Ultimate because I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan when I was a little kid. And I just put out a tweet not that long ago of everybody really actually did this before, where it had somebody trying to power up and do the Kamehameha wave, and somebody else trying to do the instant transmission. and I put that out. I was like, I know everybody here has tried this before at some time in their life, and yeah, a lot of people agreed. That game was. Ultimate Fighter 22 was dope, and Dragon Ball Z Final Bout was dope.
I don't have a moment like that. Okay, I remember Speed Punks, yeah. But I don't have that moment you're talking about. Yes, that's old though, bro. Like, how old? Wait, hold on. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay,
I'm about to be 33 here soon.
Okay, all right. And you played this? You played that game like when it came out, or like after, like retro?
Oh! I played no, not like recently. No, I played that game back when all we had was the PlayStation 1. Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't have a moment like you just did with that whole experience just went through. Like I don't have, when it comes to like PlayStation 2, I don't have that moment. I just have like my SenseiK1lls, and I have my Metal Gear Solid. I don't know. I think the most, and this is probably a cheap answer, but the most out of box experience I had was Silent Hill. Like when it came to horror, like the horror scene, I never ever, and I'm when it comes to anything horror, man, I'm just that guy that'll hide in the corner. I'll put the blanket on. I'm that guy. I'm scared of horror. Anything clowns, I have a thing for. When I played Silent Hill, and not even the pyramid, before even the Pyramid Man came out of that game. Just when you're walking down the street with the fog and you're walking into the alleyway in the beginning of that game, the very first Silent Hill,
okay,
and the first jump scare happened. That to me was the first time I was ever immersed in such a way where literally I couldn't sleep. I had to go to. My mother had to I had to sleep my mom in her bed and my father. Like I know they hated it, but I had to do that. Like it was that I had to sleep with lights on for a long time. So when it comes to life altering things, I think that game did it for me. When I played that game, and I don't even know why I even asked for that game. When I knew I wasn't into horror because I was just scared like that. And I asked for it anyway because it was like, oh, Silent Hill, you gotta play it. And I got it, I ended up getting it. I remember going to Funkoland. Oh shit, I'm showing my age again. I remember going to Funkoland. I cut class, by the way. I cut class to go to Funkoland. And I knew the store manager. At the time, they wouldn't let, like, if it was in school hours, they wouldn't let any students in the building or in the store.
Wow.
Yeah, now they don't give a shit, but back then they would not allow you at all. So I knew him, so he allowed me to go in there and sold me the game. Like he actually sold me the game.
Back when places had morals.
When they had morals, exactly. And my parents were working at the time, so I went back home, popped that bad boy. This is daylight time. Like it was sun out and everything. School time. It was like around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I popped this game in, and dude, it took me 5 minutes. I popped it back out. I said, I cannot deal with this game. I cannot. I went back to the store manager, and he goes, dude, you got to give it a try. You got to keep it going. You want to play here with me in the store? Now, thinking about that moment now, that might not fly. That might not fly these day and age. You know, a little kid with a grown man in a store like that playing video games. These days, that's like weirdo stuff. But back then, he was like, man, if you want, you could pop it in right here, play it, and I'll be here. So I'm like, nah, I'll go back. I'll give it a try. And I manned up or boyed up at that time. And it was like, I got through a few levels, and I'm like, it gave me nightmares, man. It gave me to this day, I can still think of those moments. It gave me nightmares, a lot more embarrassing stuff I don't want to repeat. But that happened to me while sleeping. Maybe you guys put your imagination together on that, but it's just one of those things where it's like, Silent Hill probably was the one that changed like things for me as far as how it really made me freaked out about things like the dark and everything. I swear to God, for years I thought Pyramid Man was in my closet, man. Like I thought he was in my closet.
You thought twice before you bought a game.
All the time, man. Oh yeah, man. That hanger with the shirt hanging on it, I'm thinking that's him. That's him.
All right, shout out to some of you guys in the chat that showed up. Shinrock's Sound Gaming is good to see you. Dragonheart Yobi, much love. Thank you for showing up. Love. Absolutely, really good to see y'all here. Throw some if you guys have any answers to some of these thoughts and questions that I'm throwing to Sensei, you can definitely do that. Or if you have any questions for Sensei at all, throw them in the chat below so I can do my best to get them answered for you. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so moving on to the next generation. So is the following generation after the PlayStation 2 when you decided to start messing around with Xbox? Because a lot of people say that's when they turned because of the price.
I wouldn't say turn because I've had the PlayStation at the same time I had my Xbox. So I had like the original Xbox, I had the PlayStation 1 to 2, I had the 360. For me, it became more prominent on the Xbox side of things. I said Xbox, wow. Xbox side of things. Yeah. When the PS3 came out. I had PS3 and then the 360, and the PS3 for some reason was just not hitting. Don't get me wrong, the PS3 has some banger games. It has some awesome titles on that system. It just didn't fit with me. Like I didn't like the theme. I didn't like the marketing it was going with. I didn't like the games that was being dropped on there. I didn't like the way it was having problems. My PS3 was like giving me issues. Like it would crash games. It would do a lot of things like that. And that kind of opened up the door and the opportunity for me to give the 360 more playtime. And then
which one did you have first?
I had my PS3 first.
Wow, most people I hear from say they had their Xbox first because they didn't want to go down that route.
You know, I came from like as far as the next gen consoles are concerned, not excluding Nintendo obviously, but like the Sony and the Microsoft.
Steak Ma in the chat was just being dirty. He said PS3 was mid for a while.
I have to agree. Like I'm not one of those that'll stick to one console or another. I like playing games, so I'll buy whatever. If there's a game I want to play that's only on that console, I'll go out and get that console. If I really want to play, I'll go out and get that console and get that game for that console. SOCOM did that for me.
Right.
Metal Gear did that for me. Gears of War did that for me. Halo did that for me. So those are games that got me to go out and go, I need that console to play that game. I had the PS. Oh yeah, the console sellers, and there's such a thing. People don't like believe in that maybe nowadays, but I was that guy that I gotta play that game. I gotta have it. When Cliff came out with that chainsaw, I gotta have my Xbox. I gotta play that game. But the PS3 was just not it for me, man. And then it allowed me to play more and more on my Xbox, and that's when I turned like when the Xbox. And believe you me, I had the Red Rings of Death twice, if not 3 times. I was the guy that wrapped my console in a warm towel, damp, wet, warm towel to get it to work. Worked one time. Don't ask me how that black magic worked, but it worked one time, and then it broke again, and then a second console, and then a third console, until I finally got the black version of the 360, and then it was solid from that point on. And then I got the one, and now I'm on the series console. So I think the turning point for me to be primarily on to be a centric Xbox guy, like you called it, or like we all call it. It was a 360 late on in the 360 cycle.
Okay. Wow. I didn't expect that. But that's pretty dope. I mean, I like to hear something that I don't expect because that kind of opens my mind up to thinking some other things. So what were like? So you said PS3 started out slow, but what was like the game that you like turned on and played regularly when you had your PS3 at the beginning of the
Oh, bro,
generation?
a lot of y'all gonna hate me for this one, but it was my game. Killzone.
Killzone.
Killzone was my game. Like I know a lot of people, crap all over it, and they're like, "Ah, Killzone was not good. Killzone was part two and this." I love that series. The Killzone series for me was I loved it. I yes, LOVE, loved it. And it gets a lot of shit for it. That series gets a lot of crap. It does, but I enjoyed it because it was showing off the power of that console at the time. It was the multiplayer when they introduced the multiplayer. It was different. It
It's
wasn't
a
it
pretty
wasn't Call of
game.
Duty. It's a really pretty game. But that's what Sony does. They are really good about making sure that the game is pretty and that it's very cinematic. And Killzone was that game for me, man. Like it was that game on the PS3. But that was the extent of it, pretty much, because everything else on that, I was like, okay, I know they had exclusives, third party exclusives on that console, but there wasn't much holding me because of the way the hardware was. I'm a big techie guy, so it's like the hardware wasn't holding me, and I'm like, there's a lot. You're gonna be like bullshit. You're gonna say that to me right now, but when they introduced the PS3 and they talked about the cell processor, and I knew what kind of gamer I was, meaning that I like playing my classics. I like even if I move on to another console, I like playing my classics. When I saw that move that Sony did, it was great for that console. But when you started thinking about outside the box, started thinking, so what happens if I get a PS4? And if they don't go back to because that was an extreme move at the time. That was very extreme to go that route. And to hear the stories about the developers having issues developing because now they have to develop for two different chipsets, two different processors. On the Xbox side of things and PlayStation, I thought of things like that when I was younger and I was playing those kind of consoles. I'm like, if I get a PS4, am I gonna be able to play? So all these problems you're seeing now with the whole, you got to get the essential package, the premium package. You can't play backwards. It's all streamed. I knew that was gonna happen at some point or another because that processor was not a popular one. It was an extreme one, and those games being created on that kind of system, if they went back to the 86 chipset, which they did, the x86s,
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to play that? Short from emulating. So I saw that problem happen already. It's like I didn't invest too much in the PS3 because that was one of those things I didn't invest in PS3 because of those reasons. Um, and it's weird. I know you probably like a lot of people like bullshit, but that's how I thought of things. To this day, I still think that way. It's how I invest in my consoles, how I think forward. Is like if I'm gonna pay on this console and I buy all these games, am I ever gonna be playing these games on the next console coming over on the next generation? How are you supporting that? Like those are things that resonate with me when I see how what the company how they handle stuff like that. It's big on
Okay.
me. I'm a consumer.
I'm kind of wondering, with that being said, are you more digital now,
Yes,
or are
yes.
you okay? So that answers
I'm
my
I'm, I'm
question.
actually both digital and physical. I do both. I have like I'll even buy the digital and the hard copy because I want both.
Okay, but where would you say you trust? What do you trust more as of right now?
Physical,
Physical?
physical. Yeah, and even that's having this issue, but physical because
Yeah, because
you
those have
have that
DRM
comfort of
issues.
popping it. Yes. That's where the digital part is like eesh. But with a physical, you almost can feel comfortable that you could pop in a disc and it'll read it and it'll let you play it without having to have internet. That's the only issue I have right now with digital. We are moving to that space, or we have moved to that space, the whole internet thing. But digital is still problematic these days and age. But I would say if you split it at 100% pie, I would say 70% of my gaming is on digital.
Okay. I'd say most of mine is I don't even buy I don't really buy physical copies unless they're on sale and I can find like like a crazy sale for my Series X or PS5. Like for instance, I bought I bought the Uncharted. I bought Uncharted 4, and I bought was it Lost Legacy? I believe right after
Yeah,
that.
the DLCs.
No. At first, I bought the hard copies because I thought I'd need both of them to be able to play the game, and then come to find out, all I needed was one of the two copies. So I kept Uncharted 4 and took back the other the other Uncharted, and then I only paid $5 for Uncharted 4, right? Because it's on PS4, hella cheap. And then I spent $10 to do the upgrade for it. And so, like, for people that had, like, you know, digital PS3s, I was like, sorry, bruh. You gotta pay $50.
That's hilarious.
You gotta pay $50 unless you already own the game digitally, right?
But see, that's the benefits of physical. You will find those copies at it, unless it's like, you know, a copy of a game that's really being sought out right now. Then obviously inflation happened. But physical copies, you can walk into a store, and this is why I would say GameStop needs to stay alive. I don't know if a lot of people like, I don't go to GameStop. Stores like that need to stay alive because the physical scene is important. It's very important for the nostalgia, for the fact that you get those huge discounts, the fact that DRM doesn't affect these things like as it would digital. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to shit on digital, because digital has its benefits, and is why my library is leaning more towards digital these days, because it has its benefits. I have a family that all game, so having digital, I'm able to game share that way, which is why I can't wait for whatever that Game Pass family is going to be like. But I share, so digital can do that, versus a physical copy would have to physically take out the disc and give it to my son so he can pop it in and he can play it. So those are beneficial things to me at the moment when it comes to physical versus digital. Now, I would do this. I would probably purchase it digital because the convenience of just having to press A and it pops up on your screen. But I would probably buy the physical either way and have both copies so that my son can have the physical copy in his system, because he likes physical. The kid loves physical. He's 20 years old and he's all about physical. I'm like, okay, I don't know. You got that old school bone in you, man.
Well, yeah, and there's just something about being able to touch what you purchase. You know,
right?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I feel that 100%. But for me, as for these new consoles and whatnot, since, you know, half the time you have to have them plugged in anyways and stuff like that, I just get the digital things for those unless I find a deal, like I said. But as you know, I have like a bunch of retro consoles. There's my CRT right behind me. I have everything taken down because I'm about to be moving here in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, I specifically buy digital on those on the new consoles because I don't want it to get too crazy with discs and stuff everywhere and stuff like that. And unless there's a game that I'm just like, man, I gotta like get that like $200 package thing.
Or like the collector edition. If they come out with a nice looking collector edition that has like beautiful art in it with books, and I get it, then I'll end up getting that for the looks of it. And even now, they're starting to sell just the collection stuff of it, not even the game itself. It'll be a digital code. Like, they're starting to do that now. Where it's
I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that as well. Because I mean, because a lot of people say, "Oh man, I mean, they're worth a lot of money." Yeah, a lot of them are, but like they're nowhere near the same worth as they are unopened. Like once you open up that case, it's like driving the car off the lot. You know what I mean? Because for instance, I've seen Need for Speed underground like everywhere, every freaking trade and buy place and whatnot. But I went and I seen one that had the cellophane and everything on it, and it was going for like, I'm not even kidding, like 10 to 20 times the price. Right, just because nobody has unsealed that game, so it was like worth an astronomical amount more. So, I mean, unless you're gonna not open your game, to me it really kind of doesn't matter. I mean, eventually, I think instead of selling games, I feel like maybe people in the future might start selling their gamer tags.
Yeah. I see that. I really see that. I do, because it comes with library games. I see that because your gamer tag is attached to those games that you bought digitally.
Exactly.
I can see that. But there's games. I mean, every now and again you get an anomaly. Sorry, I can't say that word. But like Marvel vs. Capcom was an example. Most recently, 50 Cent Blood in the Sand. That
Yep.
was like when Microsoft said or Xbox said, "Hey, we're gonna do that backwards, and you're gonna be able to play it backwards with the boost and everything." It was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get me a copy." But people went out to get it. It was hardly on the shelves, and when you did find it, it was literally boosted up in price. What should have been five, maybe $10 was 60, 70, 80, $100. I saw eBay had it for like 250 at one point for just that one game. And not even in mint condition. Just I played it many, many times. I'm just selling it because you want it. Like that's how like it was just like worn already, worn out. So it was like okay, with scratches probably on the disc, but they were selling it for that much and people were buying it. So
Hmm.
you get your rare games that come out like that. It's like that has value to it. You get rare games, but not all physical copy. Like you said, once you open them and you play them, it's like a car, man. You drove them off the lot, it loses value.
Right. I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna ask you this random question: how much do you think you would sell your profile for? And I want you guys in the chat to let me know how much you think you would sell your profile for with all the games and everything attached, the gamer score. Like you can't get this back. Like let's say it's in a trade where all you have to do is you sign in and then they sign in and something like that, and then like the trade just goes like nice and smooth.
And then they change the password. You can't get back into it.
Yeah, you can't get back in at all. Like they got your stuff now. How much do you think you would sell that for? Think about that for a second and answer me. And continue to speak. I'm just checking on my daughter real quick.
Man, chat. That was a good question you just asked. I gotta weigh that in because with I don't have when it comes to the digital game side of things, I have over 500 games, if not 600. And then and then I weigh all the achievements that I popped on it, and you weigh maybe the save points that's on it through the cloud. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I don't even know where I'd go with that. It'd have to be.
That's a tough one, man.
It'd have to be like at least like a couple grand.
Steak must say 2.5 million. In the chat.
Oh my goodness, he tripping.
He must not want to let go of that game tag.
I'm saying that's how much I'd probably do, like a couple grand if I was in like a bind and I needed money now kind of thing. And it was like, all right, I haven't played gaming in like X amount of years.
Yeah, it would have to be where I'm not, well, I'm gonna be gaming for the rest of my life, but it will have to be a moment where I don't care anymore about all of my game saves and all the games I purchased money wise over the years, and I'm okay with restarting that whole thing again and just whatever, I'll let it go. Like have no attachment to that. That's probably the hardest part there because you have an attachment,
Right.
like on the monetary value. Like oh shit, I spend over thousands of dollars on this. So very easy. I would say at least 25,000, 25K. And
man.
I would say that much. There's a lot of games I got on there, man. A lot of games.
Man.
And I'm selling memories
so
too,
you're
man.
So that's true. That's true. Yeah. And the more you got me, I mean, I know I'm the one that asked the question, but the more that the way you roll out your answer got me thinking, man, I'm underselling this.
Yeah, I mean, if it's purely just
shit out of this,
if it's just purely selling your library, I get that. But if you start thinking about it, man, it's not just the gaming library you're selling. You're selling your identity. Your gaming identity is being sold. You're selling your memories you've had all the years with that name. Granted, you might have changed it over time. Your name might have changed, but it's still you. It's a part of you. You're selling your identity. So it's a tough sale, man. Like even 25,000, I'm sitting here going, damn, I think I undersold that one. Like even I'm thinking, I think I'm undercutting that a little bit because
now,
it is.
Now
you're
identity. Looking at SenseiK1lls like, you got something going on.
Yeah, that's a good idea right there. But no, man, essentially because you are letting go of that identity. It's your identity. People know me as either Sensei or Kills, or they know me one way or another in the last 15 years under that name. So it's like I'm selling that identity. And then I would have to figure out something else,
That's a really interesting question because man, there's just so much there's just such a big compilation of things.
I'll add to that if you allow me to, man. It's one of those things where
spit.
One of those things, yeah, man. It's one of those things where it's like it's you spend your time and effort on that. It is who you are. It may not be who you are like in the real world. Even people that know you in the real world probably know you through that name, but it is who you identify as. I keep saying that, but it's one of those things where selling your gamer tag. Oh man, it's just, man, you got me. I'm about to cry, bro. Like it's one of those things. Like I'm already putting my headspace in set. Like I sold it. I can't, man. I might not even sell it, man. I might not even sell it, man. And I'm already acting like it's for real. But here's what I want to say for real.
Okay.
For me, I know a lot of people say this. They say, gaming saved their lives. But for me, it literally did save my life. So selling like my gamer tag, that's also attached to it. It's one of those moments where it was either my father bought me a Nintendo, and I know the gamer tags were not back then, but this is I'll wrap that with the gaming side of things. It was either a Nintendo, and I lived in the Bronx. I grew up and was born in the Bronx in the '80s, and that was a bad era for anybody who knows New York. In the '80s, bad era. You watch, Electric Boogaloo or any kind of breakdancing movie or any movie from that era, even West Side Story. It'll show you how bad that was back then. It was literally that bad. It was either me on a console at home, or I was out in the streets, and I probably wouldn't be here today. That's how gaming saved my life. So I have to add that to the whole, would I sell my identity in that route? Even though gamer tags was not back then, but that's the story that it comes with.
Yeah, King David says a similar thing. That's my boy. King David's dope.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a very similar thing, and he grew up in New York as well, and he literally said almost like verbatim the same thing. Like, bro, it was either gaming or the streets.
When you live in that kind of environment, that's what it literally boils down to. Either you're playing sports in New York now. Either you're playing sports to stay away from the streets, or you're gaming to stay away from the streets. Like, it was either those things, or you're in the streets and you may or may not come out of it alive, or you may or may not be incarcerated one or twice, or something's gonna happen. Where if you're in the streets, nothing good comes out of that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta shout out SenseiK1lls.
You don't even have to be bad for anything crazy to happen either.
No, you can mind your business, and that's a crime back in the '80s. It seriously was that bad. But I want to shout out SenseiK1lls in the chat. He's saying, Sensei, remember what being a captain on SOCOM was like. Bro, that meant something back then. Never would sell that. If you don't know, ranking up in
I didn't play SOCOM that much. I played more Conflict, Desert Storm, and stuff like that around that time. But go on ahead and school me, bro. Put me on game.
SOCOM was progressive ranking, true skill ranking. Meaning that when you reach a certain rank, you just couldn't stop playing and go, when I get back on, I'll be that rank. The more people are playing, they're outranking you. So it was a ranking system. So if I left turned off today at a lieutenant status, and I'm thinking when I get back tomorrow, I'll be lieutenant status. No, you drop down to like ensign or something lower because you stopped playing and everybody else is still playing. So it kind of jumped ahead of you. So your rank fell. Your logo, your little symbol they give you for your rank dropped to a different, like a lower symbol. And that alone got us to keep playing SOCOM and not get off SOCOM. We had some long gaming sessions because we felt like every time, even while you're playing at that moment, you reach captain status, which captain was like the highest status you could reach. You reach that status, then there was the 5% of the captain status, the 4%, the within 3%, the 1% captain status. So there was always a goal, a cookie, or a carrot at the end of the stick to work towards. That if you got off, anxiety kicked in, bro. I was like, oh, I'm in bed going, I hope nobody's playing right now. And you wake up and you like drop like tremendously. He's like, yo, what happened here? Because everybody else kept playing.
It like encouraged addiction.
Pretty much that's what it was. And SOCOM was crack, man. It was a game. If you know, you know, man. SOCOM was just Crossroads, Desert Glory. SenseiK1lls, give me some maps in there, man. You know we're talking about Rat's Nest. He knows the maps I'm talking about. Oh man, just nostalgia, man. But that's part of selling the gamer tag, man.
Status, he knows, I'm sure.
Ooh, captain status took months. It was not something simple. It took months, man. Because back then SBMM was true skill. It ain't what it is now. It's true skill. So it's like if you stop playing and everybody else is playing, and there was thousands of people playing, even overnight, you lose that rank. Easy.
Wild times, bro. So man, all in all, it's off the table. You ain't selling that thing.
No, I think I said 25,000, but I think I out-talked myself out of it. I did. I talked myself out of it.
SenseiK1lls said Rat's Nest, Desert Glory, Seals, Frostspire. Man can go on and on.
I'm about to throw him one to see if he remembers this in the chat.
Okay, go on ahead and do your thing. But while you're looking that up, I'm just gonna go on ahead and say my whole plan for my gamer tag is to pass it to my daughter or to somebody that will take over it, and this will be in a very long time because I'm almost gonna assume that my daughter is probably gonna have her own profile. You know,
Right?
And she'll want to build her own things, but
okay, I see. Yeah.
But like as I'm dying, in my will, I'm gonna be like, this is, you
gotta write it in.
You can keep this as well, and here's, at that point, probably like thousands of games. Hopefully, they continue, because what I'm hoping now is with Sony, working on backwards compatible and making their own team for it.
Making their own team.
Nintendo's starting to go like to kind of PC a little bit. If we've seen a little bit of news coming out with Mario Kart, and then though we already know Xbox they've been down with the backwards compatibility for some time now. So with that being said, I'm hoping that they continue this trend, and I'm sure as time progresses, it'll just get easier and easier for them to implement this stuff and understand what they're doing with it, because they'll have a past and a history of doing that kind of stuff. So holding that. So somebody else will be able to hold that torch as time progresses on. I think it would be really cool to be able to just pass it on to my daughter, or some sort of like within the brand, be able to merge my stuff over and just say, all right, this I'm giving this gamer tag all of this stuff from me.
Yeah, like a transfer.
Yeah, exactly, like a transfer of property or something like that. Yeah, so I
mean
that's what I'd want to do with it at the end. That's my end game.
It's what it is, though, right?
Yeah.
It's a property. It's essentially it's a property. If you think, I mean, in the gamer's world, it's silly to think of it outside that space. But when you're in that world of gaming, it is essentially a property you're selling. You're selling a space, a digital space. I mean, think
library.
Of cryptocurrency.
Yep.
Cryptocurrency, that's happening. It's a digital space being sold, and that has a value to it.
Yep. She's gonna be able to keep my digital gaming headstone. Right?
Here lies the one and only I'm Solo.
Yep. But moving forward, so we left off with the PS3 and 360. We talked about the PS3 quite a bit, but now I want to know what kind of sparked your interest with the 360. You said you had the Red Ring of Death and everything like that, but what were some big time games for you during that time? Like, what was almost like, I mean, other than Halo, I don't want you to use Halo.
Gears.
Okay, Gears.
Blue Dragon. What's that other game? Mainly Gears. Gears is the one that really drew me. But what sold me? What sold me on the 360? I'll take it here. Because I'm a Call of Duty guy. What sold me on the 360 is, and here's a story. I pre-ordered the 360. I already had purchased the PS3 ready to go, right? I pre-ordered the 360. Then I canceled it because it was like, I wasn't an Xbox at the time. I did have the original Xbox, but that wasn't my thing, right? I canceled it. It wasn't until maybe 2 months, or maybe I would say even closer than that, before it launched. I've already canceled it now. GameStop, I canceled it. I walked into Target with my wife. Not Target, Best Buy, sorry. And they had the kiosk set up with the demo on it for 360. The demo that was playing at the time was Call of Duty. The original, the Call of Duty back in the days, Call of Duty 2, or whatever they want to call that, where it was the World War scene, theater of war, that theater of war. And I said, well, let me check that out. I really don't want it, but let me check it out. I go and I get on it, and I threw on, at the time, I think it was Turtle Beaches, the very original Turtle Beach at the time. I threw those bad boys on. First time I ever had immersive over-the-ear headphones on. I'm going, what am I listening to? So the bullet sounds, the popping, the smoke, and the way that sounded, the effects of that smoke on screen, the absolute rampage that was happening with the firefights. I looked at my wife and said, shit, I think I made a mistake. I want this. And she goes, well, it's going to be tough to get it now because everybody and their grandma wants it, And I'm going, it's an Xbox. Nobody really wants an Xbox. I was that guy. I was that guy.
Here we go.
Before it became
Oh,
cool,
bro.
I was that guy. And then I'm like, okay, I'll try to get. So there was no way in hell I could get a pre-order on it. I went to GameStop, Best Buy, everywhere. Nobody had a pre-order on it. I went to Walmart of all places. The Walmart just where I live at, the Walmart just had opened up, and it was during the hot, like right before it was supposed to launch. Back, it was like maybe 2 weeks before it was supposed to launch. The lady at the gaming or whatever it was at the time gaming department was like, we don't do pre-orders here, but I tell you what, we're about to get. I'll tell you something I haven't told nobody. Whatever, quote unquote bullshit, right? But we're about to get 20 in stock. If you can get on the line, I can't tell you what time the line starts, but if you can get on this line and you're one of those 20 people, you get an Xbox. We'll put a wristband on you, you get an Xbox. I'm going, when is the line starting? We don't know that yet. But you don't know when the line started? No, we don't know that yet. It was 3 days before this thing was supposed to launch, and the line was already out the damn door.
Oh no.
Out the door. I'm going, oh man. And that just added to my anxiety. Like I now I need this because here I'm saying nobody wants an Xbox, and I'm staring at the line going in the parking lot. Like, what are you guys here for? PlayStation? New PlayStation? Nope, Xbox. I'm like, oh no, I gotta get in on this. I tell you what, man, I don't know how I did it, but I snuck in that line and hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Hey man, I haven't seen in a while. What's up, man? And got to the front of that line. I was number 7. Nobody saw what I did. I just did it like that. Because I knew, hey, what's up? I knew people. They were already in the front. Hey, come over here, man. You're over here. You're cool with us. Went to the front of the line. And these people online, I guess the people out behind me didn't know it was only 20 consoles because they were cool with it. Like, whatever. It's plenty for us. Not, and if you remember at the time, 360 was sold in a way where it's like it was no hard drive. You had to buy the hard drive separate.
Yep.
Unless you bought, there was 2 SKUs. There was one with the 20 gig, one without. And you would have to buy separately. So I ended up buying me that night the console, Call of Duty, and Condemned.
Did you get the headset as well?
I got the headset as well. No hard drive. My man, I didn't know it needed a hard drive. I knew you need a hard drive to store games. I didn't know it was part of the memory side of things. I played Condemned that night. Shitting bricks, but playing Condemned that night, and I progressed pretty far into the story, like second chapter, third chapter. I turned off, turned back on. I'm like, what? I gotta start the whole thing again? I didn't have a hard drive, my man. I had the hard drive.
So you had to
I
go
never
through that
slapped it
hell
on.
twice.
I never slapped it on. Like I had the hard drive, but never slapped it on because I was that excited. So for me, Call of Duty and Condemned were those 2 games.
Wow,
And
that's what
obviously Gears
launched
of War
your,
down the line.
that's what opened your eyes about it. Then it wasn't even Halo.
No, it wasn't Halo. And another unpopular for an Xbox centric guy, another unpopular opinion. I'm not a Halo guy.
Really?
I play the campaign, love the shit out of the campaign. I'm just not a multiplayer Halo guy. I'm just not that guy. But you won't catch me out there talking nonsense. Oh, this game is no. I just don't play because it's not my style of multiplaying. My style
Fair
is
enough.
fast paced. Call of Duty, Battlefield, fast paced multiplayer. That like in Naraka now. Like those are my kind of first person shooter multiplayer. I cannot like Halo's too slow for me. Way too slow for me. So yeah, not Halo. Halo was not the thing for me, man. It was the Condemned for the horror side of things and the Call of Duty.
Gotcha.
And that Call of Duty is not on any other console. That's just on Xbox. That one Call of Duty is only on 360.
Man. So going through that console, what ended up being like the knight in shining, like the game of the generation for that for you? Crackdown.
Crackdown. Right. Just the sounds of
It
the
was big
orbs
back
collecting.
then, though. It was
Oh,
huge.
dude. It had, oh man, like just the sounds of the orbs when you're collecting them. And I say Crackdown because my wife is not at the time was not an avid gamer as she is right now, even though I still don't call her a gamer because she's playing COD Mobile. Ugh. But back then she was not an avid gamer. It had her literally looking up YouTube back then was not what is YouTube now, but looking up for videos on where these orbs are at. So she helped me finding these orbs on Crackdown. So that experience, me and the wife playing video games like that, was like that brought us together in the video game world. For someone who doesn't like video games, who don't care about video games, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So Crackdown for me was like it. That was it. It solidified the 360 era for me. And then moving on with the other games that came out forward, that was just icing on the cake for me.
Fantastic. Um, yeah, man, the chat's pretty live with Stank Ma and Shinrock talking about SOCOM. They're still living that. They're still living in that piece of the conversation because I mean, that was a mass. I remember so many people talking about SOCOM back in that time because I mean, Best Buy was, or not Best Buy, but Blockbuster was around and stuff like that. I remember renting SOCOM and just being confused out of my mind at what I was looking at because there's just so many different things that you could do. And I was, I want to say I was in like middle school at the time. So like I was just like, man, this is too damn complex for me, man. I'm good. And I went on ahead and played Conflict Desert Storm, Conflict Back to Baghdad, Vietnam, and I mean like fantastic games, man. Those games were great. And that specific game is what got me into Xbox. It wasn't Halo or anything like that. So I'm always interested when I hear somebody else say it wasn't Halo that got me in. Well, me neither. It was Conflict Desert Storm that got me in because you could pause the menu, go to the sound, and I was listening to Tupac while I was killing people in Baghdad.
that was see that original Xbox when it came to music, bro. I don't think nothing today. I mean, everything's digital now, so you could probably play Spotify and everything in the background. But back then, to have to create your own soundtrack for the game you're playing was an amazing thing. A lot of people forget you can rip CDs on the original Xbox. People didn't know that. Like you can rip CDs and play music on your Xbox on your hard drive.
To this day, some people don't know that. And then and then also what people didn't know is that the soundtrack that you create while playing the game would recognize that you're listening to music, and when it went to cutscenes, it would cut it off.
Yes.
The music would cut off for the cutscene so you could hear what the cutscene is, or it would dim down low. In NFL 2K5, you could customize your own freaking soundtrack for the game. So when you score a touchdown, each time you could hear Lil Wayne, or you could hear Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, and all these
copyright strikes, and because back then there was no real streaming going on, so copyright was not a thing. But now there's the streaming and all that stuff. Copyright is a thing. So, man, we came up. We came up. Like we talk about these things, we came up. Like a lot of the stuff we're playing now, that's foundations from back in the days, man. That's built on foundations upon foundations of what we did back in the days, man.
Yeah, man, that was a different time where I mean, people were arguing and fanboying then, but like
that's always been around, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it ain't going nowhere. It is what it is. You just kind of choose who you constantly look at and decide to follow. But what I'm saying is like there was and there still is to a way, but there was a definitive reason why you wanted one console over another back then. Like it wasn't just like speed or like storage space or stuff like that. Like that was
like it is now. Like what it is now with the FPS boot, like the frame rate. And no, back then was not about that, man. Back then it was more the decision you made for owning a console, either or, was solely based on the game that came out and the experiences you had with them. Gaming the way it used to be then, as it compared to now, it's different because the landscape, obviously, everything grows, everything changes. Now it's more of is the frame rates holding? Is it 4K? Does it have ray tracing? Does it have backward compatibility? Like that's more like gaming now is more feature. I would say conversations are more feature orientated when it comes to conversations. Less and less I see, and I know that this is like a weird conversation or a topic, but less and less am I seeing conversations, of liking or not liking around the game itself, the experience. I'm not seeing that as much anymore. Maybe it's because of the people I follow or who I see. But I would like to see that gaming space go back to those conversations. If you're gonna not like something, like it because you don't like it or like it because of the game and what it produces for you, not because it's missing a frame rate here or because ray tracing is not enabled. Like those are conversations that, and I'm probably skipping ahead here. I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but those are conversations that really, really turn me off in the gaming community when it comes to that. It's like it's not fun. Gaming's meant to be fun. Like let's have. Why are we talking how bad things are? It's that's. Like I said, I'm probably skipping ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Stankma in the chat said facts, so he's reading what you're writing down for
I
sure.
like this guy. I like this guy. I'm
Yeah,
a friend
yeah.
of his.
Stankma is dope, man. He's a good
What's your
guy.
Twitter,
Check him out
man?
on check him out on Twitter.
Drop your Twitter
Too
handle,
big as
please.
well. Yeah, his Twitter handle is Stankma as well, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. But yeah, Too Big, super dope as well. He's a streamer out from Hawaii. You probably heard of Talk Story podcast before.
This man follows me
out-
already. I'm embarrassed. Let me follow him back.
Yeah, he's super dope. But yeah. Let's keep it moving. So yeah, so that was a legendary. So would you say that that's when Xbox kind of grabbed you by the neck?
Grabbed me by the neck and took off, and it wouldn't let me go. Like, it wouldn't let me go because then they started introducing the live service party. Like, not introducing, it got bigger because it was already introduced back in the OG Xbox.
Right.
But then it started getting bigger with party chats and how big the party chats got, and the fact that you were able to just, while you're in a game, be in a party chat, invite people into a game while you're like. It just started growing more and more, and it just wouldn't let go of me. It was one of those things like, man, it's so convenient. And then I started building friendships, like real lifelong friendships that today I have from 15, 20 years ago because of Xbox. I have those friendships today. Logic, my co-host, is one of those friends. I've never met him in my life, ever, like in person. I FaceTimed him. I've chatted with him on Xbox. It's been 15 plus years that me and that man has been friends. And we're brothers. And you would think that we live, like he lives with me or he lives right next door to me, and we just chill that way, but we don't. But those are the long-lasting relationships that Xbox did, that I built with Xbox, and it's why it's like leaving the Xbox ecosystem is tough. Same thing with everything else, though. It's just like if you was on Sony and you built that friendship, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just the features that they kept bringing on and how they built on it and how they kept making it better and just better and better. It's like I can't leave. I'm trying to leave. Let me leave. It won't let me leave. Like, and then rewards. We'll talk about Microsoft rewards. Like,
Ooh,
yeah. Game changer. I don't even have to pay for my Game Pass subscription because of rewards. You guys don't really want me to leave, man.
all they're asking for is your time. That's
all
a
they're
big
asking
thing,
for,
though.
man.
It's a big deal,
Yeah.
but the way that you the way that you mold like a road for me to follow for my time is the biggest part. Like everything wants your time. That's that's the new money nowadays. You know what I'm saying? That seems
Time
like
is
the new
currency.
money is your time and experience. Two things. I mean, obviously money is a big deal, but like you even look at live service games and these free to play games and whatnot. Like, yeah, I mean they're really happy to get a sale and everything like that. But when they can pull up them concurrent numbers and see them going nuts, that's what means a lot to them. And they're getting money for that kind of stuff. They are getting money for them, like concurrent numbers and stuff.
The way I feel as an Xbox gamer is that they with the rewards they're paying me for my time. Yeah, it's funny money. I get it. It's monopoly money, but that monopoly money gets me games. It gets me free Game Pass. It gets me, heck, if I'm hungry, I can redeem points and get Domino's if I wanted to with it. Like they reward me for being a gamer on their ecosystem. That's sort of things that how am I not going to be loyal to that kind of a system? Like that's one of those things. Like they're paying me to stay on their system. Like essentially, you're letting me know we want you here. Here's this X amount of reward points. Do what you wish with it. If you want Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, go for it. If you want food, go for it. If you want Blockbuster, if it was still around, go for it. But it had even Netflix, Amazon, like you could do things with it. And who doesn't shop at Amazon? And they give you that. They give you that value. That's one of those things for me again, I go back to the consumer side. As a consumer, I'm valued by playing an Xbox. I feel valued. I feel like I'm important in their ecosystem. And it starts with those type of things, and it extends into this social network world where your corporate heads are with the gamers, talking to the gamers about the gamers, and they are listening to what you want. Or you want this, we'll try to get that for you. And they go out and get it. It's one of those ecosystems. It's hard for me to leave, but eventually, it's hard, man. It's just hard. Like I'll sit here and think of scenarios of what would make me leave Xbox, like that ecosystem. as if it's a physical door, right? Like, I'm out, peace. But what would leave me leave the ecosystem? I think at this point it would have to be them. They would have to literally be doing shady stuff, just backward stuff, just things that don't relate to me, things that don't shine a light on consumer, um, tone deaf stuff, uh, not supportive of the history of gaming. Like things like that is what keeps me coming. If there was to ever change the script on that side of things, where they go against that kind of stuff, then that's when I start thinking, okay, it's time for me to start thinking about my relationship with Xbox. Weird to say that, but that's how I look at it.
I hear you. Okay. So now I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to wrap up this subject by putting the this generation and the last generation kind of smushed together into one last piece of this chapter. So I want to know like how you felt through, because you just got off of saying, you know, man, I was really on the PlayStation, and then the Xbox, you know, grabbed me by the neck, and you know, I've been messing around with the Xbox. So what did it feel like going from the 360 generation, where it was like game, and then going into the Xbox One generation? And let's start out with that, just that question.
Okay. 360 was purely games. You hit it around the head. It was purely games after games after games. They had the partnerships going on with the Call of Duties. They had these third party, you know, games that were coming on as exclusive to the console. And then here you got the one coming out, and I'll give you my reactions to when I saw the VCR with a camera. That's what I called it. When they showed that off at E3, this big old, you know, chunk of plastic and a big old camera that looked to me looked like Short Circuit. I initially was like, what is this? Like, what are you trying? It, I get what they was trying to go for at the time with the snap and the ESPN watching football while you're playing. They would, you know, trying to integrate the whole media side of things with the gaming. But the bottom line is, I was a gamer. You know, I was a gamer. I'm going. I want the games. That's the extra stuff. I don't want a living room space. This is a console that's still going to be in my room, my game room, not in the living room. But thinking ahead of things like that, that's where the space was going anyways. The watching Netflix, the watching streaming services, the listening to music, YouTubing, streaming your video game through the console. It was going that route anyway.
Hey, it was one of those things where it's like Microsoft, you're too ahead of yourself again.
Wait, I noticed that. It's like, yeah, I see where you're going, but I think it's too soon. Maybe midway down that cycle, they could have introduced it as a refresh, and then here's the refresh and what the new features coming with. But I just thought that coming off of a great cycle of 360 with all the beautiful classic games they came out with, one after another, they put a big old stop sign in front of that and just ignored it and said, no, now we're going to go with entertainment side of things. This is where we think it's going. Great. You have awesome brains over there that's thinking 15 years down the line, but it's still not ready for that. So with that being said, I still ended up getting my Xbox One because, again, they had me already with the live stuff and the reward stuff and everything else, that I stuck by the ship that was quote unquote sinking, you know. But it was one of those things was like, what started turning me off from and I got back on PlayStation 4, by the way. What started turning me off about the Xbox
Like at
One,
a similar time?
What started turning me off about the Xbox One is the fact that exclusives stopped coming out. And I don't mean the bangers and the hot game. I'm just games in general for Microsoft just stopped coming out. Like there was Rise, another Crackdown, I believe it was. I think another Gears, and it just felt like, okay, what you got next? What you got next? I want more. Where's my Fables? Where's my, like, I wanted more, like, and or original IPs. But what I mean about exclusives, for me, I want original IPs. It wasn't coming with the Xbox One. I'm going, okay, these guys are promising something, and it's not, like, it's been years and nothing. And I found myself playing more and more on the PlayStation 4 side of things, because they were throwing out the Uncharted. They were throwing out the even Hellblade at the time was exclusive at one point to Sony. That's a beautiful game. They were throwing out the God of War, which is one of my favorite franchises of all time, the God of War on the PlayStation side of things. God of War. What was the other one? And then they started coming out with games during the later stages of PlayStation 4 with the Ghost of Tsushima. And then you had your even Days Gone. Hello, like, I know that game was shitted on, I get it, but it
Well,
was
so
still
was Rise, but it's a fantastic game.
it's a fantastic game. If you play it and give it a shot, it was a fantastic game.
People that
So,
only look at these Metacritic scores and stuff like that, they can't be trusted.
dude, and I know you, I know we're in that same wavelength when it comes to that. That's just, it's a cringe thing to be like when people point out the Metacritic to a game that's what makes a game good or bad. It irks me so bad. I'm like, ooh, so many great games people miss out because the score says 80 or 78 or 75. Like, because that score says that, you're missing out on a great title. And then there's some that just want to play AAA titles. They don't care nothing. If it's not AAA, I'm not interested. They don't play indie games. They don't play no title below, the banger games. Like, it's crazy how there are gamers out there like that, but they're gamers nonetheless. But the Xbox One, when that got introduced, man, it was like, to go back to that, I was disappointed. I was very disappointed with how they introduced it. Again, this is what sets me apart from the Xbot, quote unquote, that people deem to say I am. But it's one of those things where when I see something that I'm not happy with, I call it out. Not in a bad way, not in a let's threaten developers, not in that way, but in one of those ways where it's like constructive criticism. Because if it wasn't for those constructive criticisms in the Xbox One era, we wouldn't be getting a Series XS story we have now. People,
You're just talking like disappointed dad status. Like I'm
it's
ashamed of you right now.
People fail to understand that, as if you're not allowed to talk bad or criticize, not talk bad, but criticize your console of choice. Like, if I want to proceed giving this company my money, they need to do better. I want to stick with you, but you need to do better, and you need to hear what needs to improve. I cannot be that guy that sits around and goes, because I have a preference, I will not call it out, because then it seems to not exist. If I don't call it out, everything will be all right. You know what I mean? If I don't call it out, it's okay. I can't be that person. My preference is Xbox, I'm going to call it out. My preference is Sony, I'm going to call it out. It just has to be called out, because at the end of the day, you're dropping money. You're investing in these companies. For you to just stand by idle and go, well, they'll get better. Well, how would they know to get better if they're not being constructed, if they're not being criticized? So the Xbox One to me was was disappointing. Even though I still owned it, I stood by it. It was disappointing. But the second half of the Xbox One, for me, that's when my content creator has started becoming a thing more and more with the upload studio and the Kinect camera. Those things were amazing. That's where I found my inner editing and my creative content little kid inside of me was like, oh, I could do this. And I was doing my Battlefield videos with me on the Kinect camera, talking about it and putting some visuals on it. It's the first time I felt like empowered to edit things and to be a creator of content, even before it was a cool thing, So it had its moments. It did. I just felt like they abandoned the gaming space of things,
Yeah, absolutely.
I just felt that way. Like, I felt real betrayed when it came to the gaming side of things.
Gotcha. All right, now we're hitting like 2017, I believe, when like Game Pass was introduced, right? Mm-hmm. What did you think about Game Pass when it first came out? Not now.
I didn't like it. I subscribed to it because it was the new thing. And like I would say, I don't know how long, but it was really quick. I think it lasted maybe 2 months with me, and I didn't see no. And at the time, I wasn't an indie gamer. I wouldn't try indie games at all. It wasn't my scene at that time. But I think it lasted 2 months of Game Pass, and this is before the day and dates, the exclusives being there, and third party day and days. This is before all of that. This is when you had bare nothing on that subscription service, and it was literally indie games you had at the time, and there was no Ultimate. It was just Game Pass before EA and all that. So it lasted maybe 2 months, and I didn't like the service too much. It's not till then they started talking about day and dates and how their exclusives will be on there, where I started coming around and warming up to it. But even then, I was like, okay, what exclusives are you talking about? Because you don't come out with exclusives. So what exclusives are we talking about? Like, can you show me a roadmap of what you're talking about? That way I go, oh, I get it now. But I started warming up to it. And then your Sea of Thieves came out and so on. Like, that's when games start coming out. Like, you could see it with your eyes that their exclusives will be on the service. I'm going, wait, okay. And I signed up for it. I think it took about 2 years. 2019 is when I literally signed up for it and haven't let go since.
Okay. Wow. Did you at any point think that it was bad for gaming?
Now, Game Pass now. You're talking to somebody who had a Blockbuster monthly pass, gaming pass. You're talking about not even Block. That's just the mainstream one, but Video King where I live at, your mom and pop video store where they had their version of whatever subscription was, where you pay $15 a month and you get to rent whatever you want to rent, up to two, and keep it for a week type of stuff. Like you're talking to that kind of person. So for me, subscription service gaming was a kind of a godsend. And I even did. A lot of people don't remember this service, but on live, it was one of the first, if not the first, gaming streaming service that was on the PC, where you was able to literally what you do now with gaming, where you have on XCloud, where you just click it and it comes on.
Mm-hmm.
There was a service called On Live a few years ago that PlayStation or Sony ended up buying that infrastructure to bring it over for PS Now before they got that deal with Xbox to use their what is that called, the Azure.
Yeah, Azure service.
They bought OnLive, but OnLive back then was that service where you just click a button and the game came on your screen. It was bad, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think subscription gaming was ever a bad thing. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how that became a thing where people think because of subscription games that the games will be bad now, it'll be worse or less quality. I don't know where that came from, but I never thought it was bad, man. I never thought Game Pass was a bad thing. I still don't think Game Pass is a bad thing. You know, I think where that comes from, if I'm being honest here, is gamers who prefer their cinematic quality style games, their AAA titles. They don't play nothing else but single player games. They don't ever experience Call of Duties, because if you play Call of Duty, those things are not like, they may be considered AAA because they spend millions of dollars on them to create them, but they're not the best looking games unless you're playing the campaign. And even that has its issues, But I never thought of Game Pass, watering down the business or making games poor quality, or like, I don't know where that stigma came from, but it is what it is, man. I personally never thought or am thinking that Game Pass is bad for business.
Okay, I gotta throw some shade real quick. Like, I'm just gonna rewind this. Like, so you guys look up at the screen on top. This is what it looks like on Gran Turismo to drive off-road. It is the worst that I've probably... That's GT7, bro.
No, it's not.
Like, yes, it is.
You're trolling me right now. That's not GT7. No, I'm not.
That is GT7. Like, look at the, look right here when I'm going into the finish line. Like, bro, that is GT7. And I'm telling you, because I don't own any other GT on the PS5 other than 7. So,
I've had GT games on my PlayStation 2 that look better than that. I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny. I'm literally saying that cannot be. No.
GT7 looks fantastic when you're on a regular concrete course and whatnot, but when I seen what I just showed y'all and whatnot, when I seen that when I was playing, I was like, what the hell is going on here? This is...
Bro, I'm looking at the screen right now, and I maximized it. I put 4K on that bad. No, I do not accept that. Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. That is GT7
driving
on the dirt.
I sound weird, but I don't have a PS5, and I don't look that way because I don't care to criticize anything or look at it and go, wow, that looks good, that looks bad, because I don't own one. I don't feel like I have the right to even say things about
it. That's fair.
I don't own one. But that was not GT7, man.
Yes, it was. I promise to everything that I own. That was GT7. No, I'm not joking too big.
But see, and that's when the argument comes in where gaming is subjective. You see what I'm saying? Like, people call those, GT7 is a banger for many people. It's a banger, and it's worth $70. I personally
think it's a good game, and I think it's really... I think it's fun. Two Bigs heard me plenty of times talk about how fun GT7 is, and I mean, there's some parts of it that I don't really understand. The camera is a little weird in the game, and there are some areas that look a little flat. But as for the car and the track that you're driving on, not what's going on behind the track and whatnot. But like the car, the track, even the sky in the game, it's fantastic. So when I got to that dirt track with that Jeep, I was blown away. I was like, you gotta be you gotta be kidding. Like that was the equivalent of when you play Uncharted 4 and you're like doing the Crash Bandicoot part.
Where they purposely downgraded to give you the feels of playing it back in the era of the PS2s and PS1s. Like they did that on purpose. But that was a design choice. That
was disrespectful. whenever I played, and that's why I went on ahead and put it up there because I wanted to remember to talk about it. So it went across there, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, that's right." Gross.
So that's when I get into like the conversations we have around that it kind of starts touching on the console fanboy kind of thing, but it's really not when it's me and you talking, because I know where you come from and you know where I come from. So when we have these conversations, we know why we're having this conversation. Where to the people outside, it may sound like console war fanboy stuff, but no. My thing is, if you can honestly say that Game Pass is game fodder, and that is going to reduce the quality of games when you have what's that DLC from Gears of War that's on there, the Hive Busters.
Hive Busters, fire.
DLC or Hive Busters, a DLC that's on Game Pass, and then you're coming from that argument of, oh, I like my bangers. I'd rather pay $70. I'd rather pay full price. Game Pass is fodder, and then you show me that. Then my argument for you is not, hey man, you should change your mind. It's now from that point forward is, you know what? I gotta accept the fact that gaming is subjective, because it is what it is. If you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. But me personally, I'm not a racing car kind of game. But if I had a choice between, Forza and that, and I'm in the racing scene, that's my thing.
I get it. But the way I kind of perceive it is a little differently. Like, I appreciate the way you perceive that, but the way I kind of perceive it is like, bro, like, not every piece of the game is gonna be the exact same or better than the other game. So like, who knows? I don't know what it's gonna look like yet. Like I know what Forza 8 or whatever you want to call it, just motorsports or whatnot. I know what that's going to look like, but I'm not sure if the photo mode or camera mode is going to be better. I'm not sure if, I mean, there could be bits of PS5's Gran Turismo 7 that just crushes Forza Motorsports, and it could be the other way around.
We've been gaming long enough. We've been gaming long enough to understand what marketing is, right? There's no way when they market a game, in the history of marketing a game, they're gonna show you off the bad parts of the game. They're not. They show you off the bells and whistles of the game. That's with GT7. That's with Forza. That's with any game.
Right.
The best way to, like, even because a YouTube video is not gonna help you do that. Digital Foundry is not gonna help you do that. It's you when you get the game, which one you choose. If you choose both, great for you, and you sit down and experience it, is when you're gonna go, I like it, I don't like it. Here's the parts I don't like, here's the parts I like. If you don't think that those things are showed off in Forza, if you think that's a representation of the whole entire game, then you haven't been gaming long enough to understand what marketing is like. Marketing will do that. They'll show off. I mean, they even got caught out there afterwards saying, oh, by the way, that was PC footage. It runs like that on the Xbox. It runs like that on the Xbox, but that was PC footage. This after it disclaimed the bottom, this is console footage, console gameplay. Like, you got to understand, marketing is in the business of selling you a title, and they're never going to show you the bad parts of a game. Ubisoft is famous for that shit. Like, they'll show you a game today, Watch Dogs. I'm watching you, Watch Dogs. They'll show you off that game, beautiful looking game, Division, right? And then they go dark for a couple of months, and they show you the game again. And what is that? What in the F is that?
Cyberpunk was a big offender.
Cyberpunk, like, it's a huge marketing does their job. They are doing their job. If you're falling for the marketing side of the gaming, wait for the game to come out, let it be in people's hands, and then at that time say, "Oh, I get it." But it's weird that people sit there and just compare. And by the way, GT7 and Forza Horizon are two different racing titles. One's a sim, one's arcadey. So if you're in that racing world,
people are still comparing that. And yeah, I mean, just for this conversation, I was talking about motorsports specifically, but but to me, it's just like, man, like, yeah, they may both be Sims, right? But you're gonna get something different from each of them playing.
right.
There's no way you could go back in the day and tell me, yeah, man, Need for Speed Underground is lit. No reason to play. No reason to play Midnight Club. There's no reason.
Right,
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
They were both fire. They were both fire. They gave you similar experiences, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude, it's like me and you. Let's say me and you. We'll put in this context. You're a content creator. I'm a content creator. We could have somebody can pitch an idea to us, one idea to both of us in the same room, and then go split ways and create your own thing. Do you think we're gonna come out with the same from the one idea, the same concept? It's how it's being told from the developer's point of view.
We're gonna draw up something differently.
We're gonna make it unique to what we think it should be like, and that's okay. It's for you to experience and go, I like this, or not my thing. I'd rather go that way. But to say one is better than the other, it's like, again, gaming is subjective. You gotta play the game and then call it out for what it is if that's your thing. But don't sit there and say something's not is hot garbage or if you're not even playing it, and all you're seeing is a YouTube video or Digital Foundry telling you, hey, it's hot. It's the pixels are falling apart. Really, this is it's up there with Metacritic with me. This is how you choose to buy your games because somebody told you it's hot garbage. Oof, I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, like shout out to John Linneman. He was on the show, but I remember watching
I saw that episode. Foundry. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And I appreciate. I gotta shout you out. I appreciate that episode. I do because it lends a lot of light to that world. Because up until then, like anybody else, through Twitter, right? I know this dude through Twitter and all the garbage that goes on Twitter when it comes to this man and Digital Foundry and how he's a fanboy of this, fanboy of that. When you that sit down you had with him, damn, did it open my eyes, man. And I wanna give you your flowers for that interview. That was eye opener for me, man. I have a different newfound respect for that man in a way I didn't have before. Not that I disrespected him, not that I'm like, that guy's boring, not that, but it's just I never like a piece of him.
You get to understand what he's saying when he says when he says what he says.
That's why these conversations are important, man. So I appreciate you for having those conversations, man. I really do.
Absolutely, yeah. I appreciate you saying that, man. And you do a similar thing yourself. Go on ahead and shameless plug that thing out.
Oh no, I mean, I was doing Creative Corner for I did, and you was on one of them. Yeah. I did a few of them, and I since like put it on pause because it's one of those things that I need to take a step back and realize why I'm doing it again. It was one of those things where I felt like I was asking the same questions, or and I don't mean to take away from the content. It's just one of those things. It was like, I want to bring it back, but I want to bring it back in a way where it's like I want to do it again. Like I enjoyed the conversation I had with you and others, but I wanted to do. It wasn't what I wanted to do as a content creator. I wanted to build videos and editing and voiceover stuff, and always draw myself to that. So I ended up doing the whole one video game per. If you look at my channel, it's evolved so much since it started last year in March, so much. So. I mean, if you've been watching, and you've been on the show, it's one of those things where I'm very passionate about gaming. I can talk about it for hours and days at a time. I don't know when to stop if you don't stop me. Like I will talk about gaming forever. Like it's my thing to do. And when I can sit down with somebody like yourself, or Mr. Silvery, which you do have Thursday. I love that man. He has a channel too, by the way. He's a real good dude. Real down to earth kind of guy. But when you can have those conversations with gamers, and I mean people who can care less about what console you play on, just gamers in general, it's a beautiful thing, man. I know we talked about the old age and how the old consoles and the memories we have on that, and this has been repeated and echoed throughout the community. But we are in the golden age of gaming. You literally pay 10 to 15 to $20 and have games on whatever console. Games available by the hundreds like that. That was something that nobody thought of if you've been gaming as long as I have.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that's amazing. So when I build my content, my channel, it's around that right there. So I appreciate you for letting me plug it. It's Sensei's thoughts, as I said earlier in the in this podcast, Sensei's thoughts. I can care less about the quantity of numbers that's on there, but the quality. The people that come to the channel, you're gonna love the content. If you don't, that's okay. You don't have to subscribe. But what I always say is give me at least 1% of your time and let me earn the 99% so that I can earn your trust and earn your viewership. It's all I ask for. It's just how
Yeah,
I
that's a
pitch it.
fantastic way to put it. That's a fantastic way to pitch it. And just so you guys know, his information is in the description below. So go on ahead and you can follow him through there on Twitter or YouTube, definitely. So go check that man out. Really good stuff. He has his show every Sundays. I forget the time right off the top of my head. I know it's like around like 3
Well, I just
or
changed it.
4.
I just changed
Okay,
it. It
you
was
just changed
5,
it?
and now it's 4 o'clock. Yeah,
Okay,
Eastern.
so it was 4 for me. So,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
was
It
almost
was
right on the
4,
button.
5 mine 4, but I changed it. Now it's 3 for you, 4 for
Mhm.
me.
Okay, gotcha. All right, dope. Well, let's actually go on ahead and move to the content creator section of this.
Ooh, okay.
What I kind of want to know is what specifically drove you to, making content and stuff like this.
I was looking forward to this question.
Yeah, let's go.
I was hoping you asked this question. Very cheesy, but what sparked me becoming a content creator, and I've said this maybe once a while ago, but what sparked me being a content creator is at the end of the day, I have 2 kids. One is 20, one is 18. My son is 20, my daughter's 18. And what sparked this was at the end of the day is that every man or woman is always talking about leaving behind a legacy, right? I may not be a rich and famous person. I may not be someone who's in the entertainment world as far as higher up in an actor or musician. None of that. I may not be an athlete, and I can't leave that behind for my kids. That kind of value. But what I can leave behind is messages from me, being me, and what I love. In the space that I love doing. So what I can leave behind is that legacy. That if the day comes where I'm no longer around, that my kids can look back as long as
Continue.
YouTube keep their channel open, their services open, that my kids can go back and view these types of content either on my channel, on Ham Solo's channel, anybody else I go on, that they're able to just turn it on and go, that's my dad. I remember him, and I can bring that closure to them. I can bring that I can have it where they're not ever missing me, that I'm there for them. So that's pretty much what sparked me become a content creator in the gaming space. Having to leave something behind, a legacy for my kids to go back and go, that's my dad. It's pretty much why I do it, man. I do it for the passion, for the love of my kids. That's what sparked it. I think Ham Solo walked away here, but that's what sparked my interest in content creating. And then above that, beside that, is my love of talking to the gamers of the world, man. Just talking to you guys every single day or every week or on Twitter or whatever it is, or on my podcast. Just talking to you guys is a thing for me, man. That brings me joy. You guys may not see it in this camera here, but it brings me joy. Like when I get off these type of podcasts, these shows, I'm literally having to sit down with my wife talking about the experience I had. Either it be with this show with Ham Solo or my podcast on Sundays, or anything I do is when it comes to content creating. I'm having those conversations with the wife, and she sees how happy I am when I'm doing this. And shout outs to her for respecting that space and supporting and growing that space, man. It's not easy doing this on your own, man.
Bro, like, not what's so important to me that I don't feel like I talk about enough is just the support system of being a content creator. Like, not only the support within your community and your friends and the people showing up, because that kind of is what it is, and everybody has their own things going on, everybody has their own lives going on. I can't expect somebody to be there every single minute of every single podcast,
and we shouldn't expect
no, it's not fair. That's not fair at all. But what I do want to kind of bring up is the support system that is at home. So, like, whether it be your roommates that you're with, or your wife or significant other, or husband or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, having that support is so detrimental to making any kind of progress at all. You have constant turmoil at home. It will show through your content, through your work,
yes.
through the way you through the way you interact with people online and stuff like that, because it's energy. Energy gets transferred from one place to another
100%
constantly.
facts.
So like if you are constantly frustrated or you're having a hard time, like you can only mask it for so long until you can start to kind of read it through people, or you don't even have to exactly read it through face to face. You'll just maybe hear it from somebody third party or something like that. Like, man, I mean, I was on the podcast. It was cool. We were really cool on air, but once he got off air, man, he was somebody else, man. He wasn't the same person, or he's an asshole. He's really nice in front of the camera, but he's a dick as soon as we turn off the camera. What you're seeing isn't real. So I really wanted to shout that out and kind of, put some sort of light on that, because what you have going on at home is just so serious and so meaningful to what you end up putting out and giving people later.
It's real. Yeah, it's real energy that you're gonna absorb and portray out to the world. It's real energy that you get from your spouse or your family or your friends in this world, in the circle you build. Is that support system is very detrimental to any creative process that you plan on doing, whether it be YouTube channels for gaming, sports, or whether it's writing a book, whether it's standing in front of a crowd and doing a speech. That energy is important that you receive at home and from your close circle, because without that energy, positive energy from that close circle, like you said, and I want to echo that, it will show up on spaces like this. You will see that facial. They can be smiling and sound positive, but we're smart enough to understand something's going on that doesn't look real. We're smart enough to understand that in this space, especially when you've been doing this for quite some time. You see when somebody's bothered or when something's on their mind. They just don't.
The
they're not
tone
on
is
their
just a
A
little
game.
off from regular.
Right. They're not on their A game. And I want to add to that. It's important too, if you're considering, anybody out there considering to get into this space. Me and Hans been doing this very recent. Me over a little year, since last March of last year, and Ham Solo just I don't want to quote you on or misquote you here, but you started recently too, right? Last year?
I started this channel, I want to say in like late October of last year.
So less than a year.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you say that in the content creating space and creating these type of content, that being genuine, authentic is very, very important?
Yeah, because it lines up with consistency.
Correct.
You can only pretend to be something for so long, or you can only act like a way for so long before you get backed up into a corner to where you feel like you are just spewing stuff instead of just logically answering stuff.
Like
taking longer to answer questions, or having to mitigate a past answer because of what you're thinking about saying now, or something like that. Like, it keeps you from needing to beat around the bush. Like, just be real. Let it let it be what it is, and that will save you a lot of heartbreak, a lot of questions, a lot of
anxiety,
putting water on the fire. Like the most recent thing about but I'm not going to say his name, but a person that pretended to be one race, but we ended up finding out he was something else. I mean, whatever. I personally don't care about any of that stuff because it's not my problem at the end of the day.
Doesn't affect you.
No, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. But the thing is when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, man, like, that's too bad for you, because if you would have just came correct from the get-go, you wouldn't have to deal with all this stuff, because the truth came out eventually anyways. Some people are making it when
you're as active as some people are in the Twitter community, in the gaming side of things, when you're that active, eventually it'll come out.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I look at it kind of from this point of view when it comes to, and not just the person you're talking about, but even those who are pretending to be something they're not. like the female space type of thing, being a female person, and then you find out like there's somebody else entirely. When I look at things like that, yes, the easy route there is to shit on the person and add layers to the
I
drama they're
feel
already going
bad
through.
for him.
I feel bad. I come from it from an angle of the mental side of things. Like, what was that person going through, and what are they going through currently that they had to do this, that they felt some type of way to do this. Now, granted, I don't say it's right. It's not right what they're doing. It's 100% not right. I don't validate that at all. But I do see it from the mental side of things. For a person to do that, something is going on either currently or went on in the past that told them I need to do this, and not for a couple of days, not for a couple of weeks, but for years, and then get caught out and then find that out. Now I feel bad for the person because now you're gonna have the echo chamber pile on and pile on and pile on without no repercussions, no recourse, and them thinking what I'm saying. I tweeted this the other day when I said, before you tweet something, read it out loud to yourself. Go in the mirror. What writing or tweeting, whatever you're about to put out to the world, whatever energy you want to put out to the world, read it to yourself first. I know it sounds corny. Read it to yourself in a mirror. How do you see yourself talking into a mirror before you do that tweet, before you write that sentence? Because if it sounds corny and it sounds hateful, chances are that's how somebody's going to receive it, and you just might have ruined their day, like entirely day. Like, I know it's corny to say, but it's social media, you can get off of it. But it is social media, and that's what rules our world today. It just does. It's part of life, and I always say this because I even got called out on, but Sensei, being positive is fake. Being positive is not real. And I sit here and go, I'm not 100% positive all the time, but when I have that positive energy in me, I'm gonna share that positive energy in me. I know that when I'm not feeling well and I'm not in the right mind, it's when I say, okay, this is not when I'm gonna be using Twitter. This is not, I'm gonna skip a week on my podcast because I am not in the right set of mind. You guys don't deserve that from me. So why would I put that negative energy out there? If we want to build positive, then build positive. But then you have those who are just hateful and just want to say positive is fake. But I don't know. That's how I look at it, man. When it comes to those type of like situations where they get caught out there and something they've been doing for a while, I always ask myself, what are they going through, man? Do they have that support system that we just talked about? Do they have that? Do they have that love in the house? Do they have that circle that sits there and goes, this ain't right. Let's fix this. Because I'm sure this, if somebody in their life was to know that they were doing this, they would have called them out and be like, hey, man, like somebody they love, somebody that's important to them, would have called them out on it, would have been like, oh, you know what? Shit ain't right. Let me backtrack that a little bit.
Yeah, but, man, I mean that specific person that had that issue, I followed him before he got rid of his Twitter and whatnot. He followed me. I was fairly cool with him. I mean, I thought he had some hot takes and whatnot, but I mean, I feel like if you hate somebody for having hot takes and you never really like, I mean, you could be kind of shallow. You could be calling somebody else shallow, but being extremely shallow yourself.
Correct.
Right. So like, so I mean, hot takes are hot takes as long as they're not hurting nobody or giving out people's information or you know, it is what it is. Take it with a grain of salt. Love them, hate them, whatnot, but just move on. What I don't like. And we'll be getting into this, so I don't need you to pile onto it too much because I want you to have your own kind of your own sensei thoughts. But but I just wanted to say like I just wanted to say that I don't take a lot of this stuff in gaming, what people say, too serious to the point where it's like. To the point where I feel like I have to attack back. I gotta clap back. Like, it ain't like that. Like, I don't need that kind of energy, right? Like, if somebody wants to get mad and debate me legitimately on something, then sure, I'll debate on something. Huh. But if you're gonna start saying, your family's this or you ain't really. Because I've had people come at me sideways and tell me that I'm not really black and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
Oh Lord Jesus!
All right, we're done. I was like, I'm gonna
Check,
talk
please.
to somebody else now.
Check, please.
I'm out of here. Yeah, like we're not talking about games
done.
anymore.
Yeah.
We're out. But yeah.
Into a weird space.
I've had crazy things thrown at me. You know, in gaming, outside of gaming, it's all kind of the same at the end of the day. Like it's conversation. It's for fun. You know, if I fuck with you, I fuck with you. If I don't, I probably won't. But like, if you change yourself, then you know, I'm all about people, you know, becoming better, doing better. You know, I mean, everybody wants to shit on Crap Gamer and stuff like that, but like, but in all actuality, he tried something, didn't work so well, he went back.
I would never hate on somebody hustle.
Yeah.
That's your hustle. That's how you pay your bills. I'm not gonna hate on that, man. That's because you see it. Oh, I would say we, because I'm the same way. But we see past the facade. Like we know what they're doing. This is not Crap Gamer is not going around in the real world saying fuck Xbox. He's not going on the road. Oh, fuck PlayStation. He's not doing any of that. He's what he does on his content. That's entertainment, and he's doing his job. If you're literally screenshotting, retweeting, talking about it, all about it, and getting angry about it, it's just like watching a soap opera, man. If that actor gets me angry, happy, sad, joyous, they did their job. That's what they're supposed to do. And people like Crap Gamer, Saltiest Gamer, whoever you want to call out, it's a facade, man. At the end of the day, it's a facade. Some of them are really extreme, but it's a facade. You know who are the ones that are putting on, and you said it. Crap Gamer did try to change it. Views went down. Hey, that's how he eats. It has to go back up. Let's go back to what works, my bread and butter. I can't hate on that man for that. I can't.
Mm-hmm. It just is what it is, and people take it so serious and to heart. Like I understand. Like, yo, it ain't for you. Well, then stop looking at it.
Stop looking at it. It's that simple. It is that really. It's really stop following it. Stop following the people that follow it. Stop screenshotting it. Stop retweeting it. Stop saying I hate this and do a screenshot pretending like you didn't do nothing for screenshotting, by the way. Even though you think it's not doing nothing because you don't want that person to get tagged, first and foremost, it's a sucker move because you're not letting that person know you're talking about them. That, to me, that's a sucker move. Second of all, you're promoting something you already hate, and you're promoting hate, you're echoing it. So because you're screenshotting it doesn't mean you're doing justice to anybody. All you're doing is spreading the hate. We want to talk about divisiveness and being you're spreading hate. So because you thought you screenshotted it and you put it out there and you did something cool, because I'm not really promoting it because nobody can go to the channel. I could see his name, man. Human mind is curiosity, right? We're like the cat. Shit, so it's his gamer. Let me go to his channel. Let me go to his Twitter page. Let me go to what is it about? Oh, I like this. I'm okay with this. Sub. Like that's what's happening. Like in the long run, you retweeting on Twitter, on social media, you screenshotting it, you're doing nothing but echoing the hate that you already feel for the person. Why are you hating on a person on the screen? I don't know. To me, that's always been a weird energy, to hate somebody on the screen that you don't even know. Like, it's just a thought, it's an opinion. If you're letting that person's opinion attack you, then that's a personal thing. That's something you got to work on.
SenseiK1lls said, just like wrestling, man, that's why Vince McMahon was the GOAT heel.
Go heel, baby. Always will be, too.
He'll be hated forever, but he ain't.
Oh, that man brings the wrestling world into the real world and still makes money, bro. What the hell? Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, man.
Well, let's get through and move on to some of these other questions, because believe it or not, we've already been here for over 2 hours.
You know how it is. Natural conversations don't even feel that way, man.
Yeah, it's just how it goes. So moving on to kind of the general questions now that we kind of got through the history and figuring out kind of who you are, what you kind of went through as a gamer, I kind of want to know what the most memorable moment throughout the history of you gaming would kind of boil down to. 1 or 2 things. Give me. Go ahead.
I'll give you one, and it's a big one. I if you haven't noticed by now through this conversation, family is big for me, right? The biggest thing for me is me and my daughter. We always had her growing up me being her father and protecting her and everything. But we always had this weird relationship where we hardly ever spoke to each other. She was like, it was a disconnect there, always talking to her mom, but never comfortable talking to her father, that kind of stuff, for whatever reason. I remember putting the PlayStation 2 controller, not the PlayStation 2, the Xbox One controller in my daughter's hand, and we ended up playing Viva Pinata. And with Viva Pinata, it was the first time me and her had connected in a way where we both smiled, we were both joyous, we were laughing, we were crying about the errors or the mistakes we made. I remember her telling me she messed up on one of the missions we did on it, and I remember her like being sad, and I looked at her, go, "Why are you sad?" And she tells me, "Well, I messed up the game." I'm like, "You can never mess up the game, ever. Like it's not. It's me and you sharing a moment." And from that point forward, she opened up a lot more. We understood each other a lot more. But that moment right there solidified all the gaming memories I've had prior to that. I would trade it for that moment right there with my daughter.
That's fantastic. That's special. That's extremely special. When did that happen? How long ago was that?
That was she was 5 when that happened. So it's one of those things where I know I could get cheesy with it, man, but I live, eat, breathe gaming, and it's had its grips on me in every aspect of life, man. Whether it's life changing, whether it's family, whether it's friendship, whether it's communication skills, whether it's learning behaviors, anything in the aspect of life, man. Gaming has been the center of that for me. It's always been. So when I say gaming saved my life, man, gaming saved my life. It just did, man. I don't speak it. I mean, I don't say it. I live it. So.
Well, now I want to hear something that you don't like. Like, what is a type of genre within gaming specifically that just like you see, like you look at a trailer, you're like, that seems pretty cool, and then you find out the style of the game, and you're just like, nah.
Anything that's card based related is a huge turnoff for me. Like most recently, the X-Men game that's coming out. Forgot what's the name of that X? It's a Marvel game that's coming out. And I was so excited about it. I even did a video on it. And it was like I watched literally.
You did a video on it.
I kid you not. The video starts off. Look, the video starts off with me watching the trailer and it's a live reaction. It's
Midnight
a video,
Suns, right? Midnight Suns.
Yes, there you go. Live reaction of that. I recorded myself with a live reaction of watching that trailer for the first time. It was a review, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, look at that! Oh my god!" And when the guy came out and said it's a card-based game, my face. If you watch that video, like I was like, "Oh god." I don't understand card-based games. I don't understand. You have this beautiful looking game, and you stop and halt the action on it to look at cards and play a hand. I mean, I get it. It has its community. It has its fan base. I understand that. I am not shitting on that at all. Me personally, the moment they say it's a card-based game, off. It just goes off. My interest goes out the window, completely out the window. I cannot stand card-based games. I don't understand anything about it. Like, and I've tried playing games like that. It's like I was not the guy playing Magic the Gathering at high school. I was not the guy playing, whatever other games was called. I just didn't play those type of games. Risk and all that. I didn't play those games. That wasn't my type. Mine is interactive entertainment. But that's too interactive for me. That's like I could play cards at home all day long. Or, I could play spades and all that at home. Why would I want to in a Marvel game of all things? You took a great franchise. What is that franchise? A great story within that world, and you're telling it with a card-based style game. It just breaks the immersiveness for me when it has to do with cards. But that's me. That's my preference.
Okay, and I want to shout out Matt Likes Games, which he was in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still here or not, but I wanted to repeat something that he said while we were in a party chat. We usually kick it every night in the party chat and play different games. You guys might have seen earlier when Gears of War was showing the original one. Me and him ran through that game together, and we run through many other games. But he said, "Yo, Marvel's Midnight Sun looks phenomenal." But as for the casual audience that doesn't really know what they're looking at, they're gonna hate it. Because they're gonna, and unless they know exactly what they're buying and they listen closely to what they were saying, a lot of people are gonna have this super hype for a game and then find out that they have to use cards in it, and it's gonna go right back to the store.
I just feel like they took a great entertainment piece of entertainment, like because Marvel is hot right now. It's been hot for quite some time, and they riding that wave to try to get the card base like over on people. And it's like, and Matt hit it on the head. If you're a casual gamer and you saw Marvel's Midnight Suns, you went crazy, especially if you knew what that was and you read those comics and you know exactly what that's about. But the moment you see card-based game, it's like, wait, what are you doing to my favorite franchise, like my favorite comic book storyline? You're converting this into a card game. The possibilities that you can do with that whole entertainment piece, and you're gonna fit it in a box of cards. Like it's just that. Ugh, what happened here? Like I was expecting it to be what's that one Marvel game back in days? Over the
Ultimate
Top.
Alliance?
Yes. Yes, I was expecting it to be that, and I was all for that. Oh, was I all for that? But the moment they were smart about not mentioning that when they first introduced it, and then they went and said, "We're going to show you off some gameplay." Showed off gameplay and still hyped about it until the guy came on screen, the director or whatever. He was like, "It's a card-based game. We are so excited." It's like, you're excited. I'm not. Off.
Oh man. So yeah, Matt likes games in the chat said they're gonna be so upset, laughing my ass off, and then SenseiK1lls says facts. I was a little hot about that.
It was not. I mean, this is not taken away.
It fooled us all.
They did, and it's not taken away from because that's a niche kind of gameplay kind of thing.
No, it's gonna be fired to people that love card games.
Oh, I'm not taking away from them. If this is your game, man, do it. It's your game. No, not for me. I turned it off and said it's not for. The moment the card came out that man's mouth, I was like, oh, I couldn't get it off my screen fast enough. It almost burned image in my monitor. No, I don't know why you took something so good and you want to tailor it to a card-based game. I don't know. Somebody in there, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. See, those kind of games would be maybe interesting to me if I had enough people to play it with, but you couldn't catch me single playering any of that kind of stuff, and you probably won't see me buying it. Like, it'd have to be either on Game Pass or somebody would have to buy it for me and say, "Yo, I'm buying this for you, but you got to play it with me." And then I'd be like, "All right, sure, I'll give it a try."
Yeah, because I feel obligated at that point. Yeah, it's like I gotta play it. You bought it for me. But yeah, you're right. Though, like I said that early on in the podcast with us. That's the type of game that when I saw it, I'm going, yeah, Game Pass. I'll try it when it goes on Game Pass. Eventually, it'll get there. Maybe it won't, but that's just how I felt about it. I'm like, no, I can't play that. I can't justify. And this is a guy that played Battlefield 2042 and loves it, right? I wouldn't pay $70 for that. Well, I didn't. I paid $100 because I love Battlefield, because multiplayer and it has ons and hours, whatever, right? I can't see myself paying $60 for that game. I just can't. Like, I cannot. Like, the visuals are on point, but there's no fighting in it. You don't fight. You don't control. It's like you see dialogue, you read it, and then you play a card. Like, dog, I just played the power card. What you got on your side? Okay, like that's not what I want to play. I don't want to play that. I just don't.
I feel it. Gotcha. All right, so moving forward, I want to know throughout this generation so far, what would you say Sensei's top 3 games are?
Throughout this, like the current gen?
Current gen, yeah.
Jeez, not much out there. I have to put Hype Busters up there, even though it's a DLC. The visual, the bar is set on future Gears of War games or anything out of Coalition. It has me hyped after this DLC being played. So that's one. Um,
It's
hmm,
fire.
that's fire. Control. Does that have to
Keegan
be
was my
exclusive?
Keegan was my boy, dude. Keegan was
Dude,
so
Keegan's the
dope.
man, bro. Like I want a high buster, a full
Full
on
game,
campaign
yeah.
game with these guys, especially Keegan. Just badass all around, man. Does it have to be exclusive?
No. This is just games.
I have to throw out Control. Control has
You
to be
really
up there.
liked Control?
I
I'm
enjoyed
gonna have to
Control.
disagree. I did not like that game.
I enjoyed it because again, the visuals were up there, and the freedom of how you control your character, like literally felt like I could do whatever I want to do with this character. Fly, powers, level up things. Like it was a sandbox experience for me, even though it was in a world of Office and everything. But it just felt like I was able to do anything how I wanted and when I wanted to do it. So Control to me, and the story is if you're deep into that story, that whole Alan Wake thing, that whole you know there's a story beyond a story in that, and I love it. And I want more of it, and I can't wait to see when Alan Wake 2 is made, how they're gonna incorporate that into. I don't know if you played the Alan Wake DLC that was on Control, but how is it gonna play into that, and like how that ended up, and where they left it at. Like I want to see. Excuse me, where they left it at. Voice cracking. Sorry, sir. Gotta get my man voice out. But how they left how they left it, man. Controls. That's the second game I will put out there. Why did you like it though?
I didn't like it just more or less for like the setting. I felt like it was just I just wasn't interested at all. Like going like
Really?
that office setting was just like so boring to me.
Okay.
Um
Gray, like just
like
gray. Just
yeah, it just
yeah.
felt it just felt a little flat
I'll
for
give you that.
me.
I give you that. It does start off draggy. The game does start off pretty draggy until you get to like the middle of it and beyond when it gets really really good. I give you that. It does start off pretty slow. Really, it's a slow burn.
The combat though in that game, I'll give it.
Okay.
I'll give it its flowers for that. Like being able to like pull and push and shoot and I like the kind of gun that she was using. It's pretty nuts. And I liked how like how it recharged instead of
hmm
like being reloaded. It just like recharged. I thought that was pretty dope.
Before I say
But
my third one, what would you think about Remedy Games doing like a Doctor Strange game with that kind of?
Remedy, okay.
That's who makes Control, but that kind of
Mm.
combat movement and the way it free flows, that in a Doctor Strange game though.
Well, I
I
mean,
think
I
that'd be
think it,
fire.
I think it'd probably work because they're the thing about Remedy to me is they do fairly well with third person,
hmm
and I do like my superheroes in third person. Spider Man's in third person. It's
hmm
always been in third person. Let's see some of the other Marvel games like Wolverine way back in the day was pretty good.
Origins.
Yeah,
That,
so
that was
I mean,
fire
third
game.
person games are dope, and they seem to have a good handle on powers, like people with powers. Um, like what is it called? Was pretty nice. I still need to finish the game, but it was pretty
Quantum,
nice. Yeah, Quantum Break.
Quantum Break.
Yeah, that
Really
was
good
really
game.
cool. I thought it was really cool that you were like stopping time and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like
They
that
do two
was
things
pretty
really, really
dope.
well. They do storytelling really, really well, and their combat is really, really well. Those are two things they do really well. World building, that could be either or. The world, it could be a hit or miss, and I can see that. But as far as combat and how tight those controls are and their storytelling, they're really good about doing that. Really
Mm,
good about doing that.
gotcha.
My
All right, and then
third and
oh,
final
okay,
game,
yeah, the third one. I almost forgot about that. Continue. Yeah,
Ori.
third.
Ori.
Ori. Which
Ori,
one?
bro. The first one.
Okay. Early.
It's oh, it introduced me to those type of. I don't even know what you call that kind of genre, like that kind of gaming genre. It's like Metrovania, I guess you call it.
Yep. Yep.
I played Metroid back in days, but this was like the music in it and the world, and it was just a side scroller. Well, 2D 3D pretty much, but just how beautiful it flowed and the story it told, and just the music, the score on that game. Ori it's like top right there, man. Again, I don't just play AAA titles. I play everything. And this game right there, like it's just I like the second one too, but the first one, I think that's the Will of the Wisp. Is that the first one? The Wisp one is the first one, right?
I don't really know because I haven't beat either one of those games. I've tried Will of the Wisp, but I didn't finish it. I thought it was pretty cool, but I was like fresh off of playing Unraveled, and I kind of had enough.
Another good game.
And I kind of had enough of 2D at that moment that I wasn't ready to hop back into another full 2D game because Unraveled
you haven't
was
played like Little
fantastic.
Nightmares or anything like that, like those type of games. Ooh, good game right there. I like my side scrollers, puzzlers, side scrollers, or Metrovania style. But Ori, man, has to be my third. I don't know. That's my three right there that I have to put up together. Pretty good game. Man. You can't miss those games right there. Well, maybe you can, but yeah.
All right, so the three games you got are right then and there. So I want you to reach back throughout your history. It could be of any time period, so it could be now. It could be back when you first got your first played Nintendo and stuff like that. What would you say was the best studio of all time, developer or publisher, and or publisher, I should say, that and what game best represents that studio?
God, that one. There's too many. It's a lot of good ones out there, man.
Mine would probably change depending on what I think of at the time. But I'm just saying for right now, what you can think of, what would you say? Because like if I were to speak and say mine right now, I'd probably say like Midway, and because of NFL Blitz.
Midway. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Man.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with that. Okay. Okay. All right. So you went. You pulled that one out. I was like, wait. Okay. All right. I mean, I'm thinking. Gears when it was not Coalition, before it was Coalition, when it was Epic.
So Epic.
I would say them because like the way they just introduced chainsaws and bloody guts and just over the shoulder action packed game, and it's literally a cookie cutter for a lot of things that went forward. You think about Army of Two, you think about what's that, Bulletstorm. Like you think about games that spawned off of that combat technique.
One I played recently is Spec Ops: The Line. Matt likes games.
I saw you posted that.
Yeah.
Oh, was it you who posted it? The screenshot of Spectre Lines?
No, that was Matt. That was Matt likes
games.
That was
Matt, right?
Did that. Yeah.
Ooh, I can't. Is that his first time playing it?
Yeah. Yeah, bro got like 5 chapters deep and was so excited about the game that he went and bought it on PC too.
Good man.
He's like, I'm gonna finish that on there too.
Man has taste. That story has the most effed up story I've seen in gaming in a long time, but it drives the point home, man. That wow. Who made Spec the Line? Who Spec Ops?
I'm not sure right off the top of my head.
Man, I mean, okay, so I don't want to get off the topic of the subject or the question you asked. So, Epic Games did like that era of Gears of War was important. I loved it. It was important to me. And that's one. You said 3 though, right?
No. You just need to have just your favorite studio with. Well, okay, you can give me a couple if you want.
I'm gonna go with Epic, and then another studio to me is the people over at PlayStation that make the Uncharted, man. Like they don't miss, man. Like their games, not just Uncharted, but yeah, Naughty Dog, but not just Uncharted, just everything they've made and they touch. It's like over the years, they don't miss, man. Their visuals is good, and the thing, here's the thing: if you've played the Uncharted franchise, every part that you play, part 1, part 2, when you play each one, it introduced a new mechanic, and a new like I remember an Uncharted 1. The cover system and how he shot behind the cover was wow. And then part 2, they added that, and then they added the flinching when you got shot behind a wall. The flinching, I'm going, that's natural. Then they went from that to when he swung on a rope on part 3, how his body literally, like you felt like it was real, like the animation style that they put in swinging on a rope. Even though you're not gonna swing on a rope, that's not humanly possible. But if you were to able to do it, you see how his body organically moved on that rope when he swung, whether it's like sideways or he lost balance. I'm going, dude, the sliding mechanics, like everything that they did with that game, and every part they did, every sequel was better than the last. It got better and it got better and it got better, and it was just an amazing thing. So I will have, those are my. I know I added one there, but those are my 2 studios that profoundly has changed the gaming the spectrum in gaming.
Okay, fantastic. Good answer. Good answer. And they're on 2 totally different spectrums too.
Mm-hmm.
So very interesting. All right, we're getting pretty close to wrapping this thing up, you guys. I appreciate everybody that stuck around, and you know, if you're here from the start or if you just came in just recently, best believe I appreciate it. Very, very appreciative of that. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and if you appreciate this kind of stuff, go on ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you want to go crazy far, hit the bell and be notified.
One of my guys. I want to shout out one of my guys in the chat, Shinrock. That dude's amazing, man. His support has always been on point, man. That man, he has a channel himself, so if you guys want to check out his channel, but that man, he's been supporting me, and where I go, he checks me out, and I appreciate that. I'll tell you the first thing, I said this on the podcast: don't ever feel obligated to watch stuff we do. But Shinrock is one of those real cats, man. Like he's there, he'll let you know, hey, bro, that ain't it. That ain't it. Let's do like he'll tell you right off the bat, that ain't it. And he'll support you, vote of confidence. So we talked about support earlier, man. I appreciate you coming in here. But check out, I mean, hit that subscribe button on Ham Solo. He's a good one. He's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
I've been, if you don't mind me saying this, I've been fucking with this cat since he started, even before that. And he's one of the real ones, man. He doesn't shy away from conversations. The uncomfortable ones, he's there. The tough questions he will ask them. He doesn't care who you are. He said it earlier. Saltiest gamer, crappiest gamer, whatever it is, he's talking to these people out there, and it's who he is. It's no fakeness to that, and I enjoy that. It's fresh in this community. That's a fresh thing to having to experience, man. So I just had to say that, man.
Well, I find it funny but I appreciate it that people think it's like rare, but to me it's just like just being a regular fucking person, man.
It is being a regular person, but that is hard to find. Show me somebody in this space that's having a regular conversation without any bias with crappiest gamer, with Willie gamer. Like, show me anybody that's doing that conversation. Show me that's not putting their bias into that conversation and attacking these people just because they have a console preference. Like you do this. You have those conversations, and to you, it's not even uncomfortable. It's you're being real. You're being a person, a human being. You got to give yourself flowers for that, man. You do. You have to. You have to, man. If not you, I will. The chat will too. Throw flowers at this man.
Oh man, this thing Ma said it's very rare. He said it with all caps.
Bro, with all caps, it's very rare. You don't. It's not every day you catch somebody, especially in this space, where all they're doing is talking shit about each other. They're not having the straight up conversations with these people at all. This is
to me, that's boring, though, bro.
It is boring. Like, to have a conversation about somebody you hate or some space you hate or some console you hate on the camera, anybody can do that. Tomorrow, I can decide to go, tomorrow I'm going to make my space, my content, my channel is strictly hating on Xbox. Strictly hating on PlayStation. I could do that, and I guarantee you those views will go up because drama, right?
Yeah.
But the easy thing is to have those conversations with the so-called people you don't like in the space. Those are the hard ones. You're not gonna find that, and you do that. You do that.
Yeah, I ain't got no problem with it because I ain't got nothing to hide, man. It's just, I mean, I'm just gaming.
There's the key. There's a key. You said it. You said it.
I'm just gaming. I mean, I'm just like everybody else. Every once in a while, I enjoy a good troll. I enjoy talking a little shit. I mean, I'm a sports fan. I like football. I like basketball. I've been around shit talking for a long time. But there's a respectful way to do it, and then there is a purposeful trying to get under people's skin way to do it that I don't.
And I'll stop you again. When you do that, your community and those who know you understand that is where it's coming from. You get that? That's the difference. The community you've built up for yourself and the community you have under your channel and everything in your world, understand that when Ham Solo says, man, GT7 looks like dog shit, it's not a fanboy thing. It's not a console war thing. It's a opinion that Ham Solo has because he's played this game, he's purchased this game, and he expected better from this game.
And it was just that piece of the game that looked like shit. The actual, like what you guys are seeing here, even though it was ass, like driving these cars sucked. But it was part of it was one of the missions and whatnot. You can easily see that this looks a million times better than with the cars rode on the track. It looks ridiculous because I'm going like 5 miles an hour, but but like you can see the clear difference between how good that looks and how good what I showed you earlier looked.
Yeah.
What I showed you earlier looked
That's
like
the
something...
instant replay, right?
Yeah, this is instant replay right here, but even during the actual race, it looks pretty good. Like there's been plenty of other races that were on here. Just this one right here, right before. It'll show up on your screen here momentarily, but like just this race, you could see like, man, this looks a ton better than whatever the hell that off-road race was that I was showing earlier. Like, this is not replay mode. This is me actually playing the game right then and there. So compare and contrast. But to me, that's most games. There's gonna be a piece of the game where you're just like, you know what, this other game did it better in this piece. Yeah. But I mean, overall, what you think is best at the end of the day is, as you said earlier, subjective.
Hey, SenseiK1lls calling you out, so he's putting you out there. He's putting your business out there. He's saying that that used to be you was there for a minute, even on the crumb side. That's wrong, the crumb side.
Yeah. Very, very, very crumb. But I like to talk myself. I usually do that on Friday with Loke because because it's usually me and him arguing more than it is about the games and stuff like that. It's just me and him going at it with our points of view, and it's usually not even about consoles. It's, like you said, it's about the game. It's about the game. Because the consoles, it's cool and all. They're worth the money, both of them, in my opinion. They're both $500 consoles. One has, really good, DVR, PS5. One has quick resume, Xbox. We could sit here and, argue about semantics all we want, but at the end of the day, one thing has something that's cool on it, and so does the other thing. If you can swallow that, you can continue to, move and talk about something else.
We can have an opinion or an idea of something, but come with at least base it on something, base it on knowledge or something. Don't just say it just to say it, I hate it because I hate it. Like, what's the basis of that? Like, why do you hate it? And you find out a lot of people's like, I don't know, I just hate it.
Facts. Oh, and too big, and fuck them Eagles, dog.
Fly Eagles, fly.
I just wanted to point that out.
Fucked up.
And fuck them Eagles. But anyways, so 2 games that you would like to revive, and then I got 2 more questions, and then we're out of here.
Call it. Let's go.
All right. So what would be the 2 games that you would revive of all time?
That SenseiK1lls, because I'm passionate about that.
Okay.
I believe
that was the easy
I believe
one.
that's the easy one. But that game right there, if they was to say that it's coming back, I'd go out right now and get me a PlayStation 5. That one game right there. SenseiK1lls will be one I would like to see revived. And Crimson Skies, man. Like, where are you at? Like, come on, bring that back. Give me a remake, a reboot. Give me something on that. Like, that's a game I want back. You remember Crimson Skies?
Yeah, it's backwards compatible
geez,
right now, but yeah,
it
that was
is,
from
but
the original Xbox.
you can FPS boost that to the wheels fall off, and it'll look that good. I want a new one.
That's very fair. That's very fair. But yeah, that was a big game for the original Xbox. Had a lot of just like that story was freaking weird, man. But it was good.
Weird, but it was good. Yeah, it was good. It was very weird, but good. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Some of the best stories are weird anyway. So yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Like one story that looks weird as hell that I'm excited to jump into, which you talked about earlier, and I watched your video on it, was Scorn.
Scorn. Mm-hmm.
Like that game looks
very weird, bro.
Fucking disgusting, but for some reason I want to play it.
I have a feeling that game, we're gonna play that game and I don't know what the hell's going on to like maybe halfway through it going, oh, I get it now. Like we're gonna be playing that game going, what am I doing? Okay.
You're gonna start getting them Silent Hill nightmares coming back to you.
Oh Lord Jesus. Shinra, man, thanks for coming out, man.
Shinra, I appreciate it, y'all. But anyways, and then what frustrates you about gaming, and then also what would be a dream come true? So I'm gonna put those two questions together.
What frustrates me very recently too. This is like this gen, man. It's like what's frustrating me is that games are not coming out complete anymore. Like they're coming out like co-op is either broken or not in the game at all. They're coming out multiplayer doesn't work as intended. We spoke about this earlier where they market something that looks phenomenal, and then when it finally drops, it's nothing close to that, remotely close to what they showed off. Those are very frustrating things about video gaming in this day and age. It's very frustrating that, you know, Cyberpunk being the most recent one where like this game was shown off like to push the envelope of gaming. This was the crisis for console. This is what that was, that benchmark. If you remember Crysis, when that came out on PC, you had to have a damn NASA space station to run the game, right? So allegedly, it was a benchmark of a game, right? They even made that game can only run on specs that wasn't even invented yet. But here we are with Cyberpunk, same thing. It's like we all know now, hindsight being 2020, we know the issues that it went through and why it came out the way it did. But still, like it was delayed, even when the game, I think it's the first game in history, the only game in history to go gold and then delay itself. Like if you guys don't know what gold means, because I worked at EA before,
sold a ton of copies.
Dude, when it's gold, that means it's pressed. It's done. That's the game that's the master copy being pressed to go to retail stores, go to digital space, go everywhere. It was done, delayed. So and then when it came out, it was just a bad, like it was bug. But I luckily I had a great experience on the Series X, but that's not to say for my brothers and sisters who played on the Xbox One and the PS4s, that game was broken, completely broken. They didn't have a good experience like I did, you know, and that's unfair. So that's a frustration to me where it's always a disconnect between the boardroom and the developers, and they like, I want money, I want a good game. Okay, let's meet in the middle, ship it out now. What? That's not the middle. That's just extreme. And they ship it out broken, you know? That's a frustration.
Okay, and then a dream come true.
A dream come true? A dream come true would be Hideo Kojima going back to Konami and making another Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, damn. You went there.
Mm-hmm.
You said you need to band the band back together.
I know that would never happen in this day and age ever, because, you know, the Japanese culture is just like that. They would not bend to a knee for nothing. But that would be a dream come true to hear Hideo Kojima is back with Konami doing a new like a new Metal Gear Solid series. That's a dream. Or even Zone of Enders.
Zone of Enders is dope.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played the first one. I've got a decent distance in it. I need to finish that game. I always forget about it because it always gets overshadowed by something else that I'm playing, or something else comes out, and then I'm like, I'll play that instead. But if you find Zone of the Enders on sale, and I'm talking to y'all in the chat or whoever's watching or whatnot, give it a try. It's pretty complex, and sometimes you might have to look some stuff up. I mean, that's kind of a Kojima game. Sometimes you might have to look something up and figure it out. But I mean, the combat in that game is fantastic.
Because it's Konami, it's attached to Kojima. So I wouldn't be surprised if they delist that damn game and
Mm.
like down the line, just to spite, you know.
Hey, that could totally have happened or whatnot. I'm not sure at all because I was lucky because I game share with a buddy and he already had that game, so I was like, hell yeah, I'll give it a
Ooh,
try.
you
It looks
came out
pretty interesting.
lucky. Oh
Yeah, right. All right, so do you happen to have any questions for me? And just as a heads up, so you don't ask like the same question that I usually get. I usually always get asked like, what got you into gaming or what got you into content creating or but do you happen to have any questions for me at all before we get out of here?
I have one. I asked this. I normally ask this when I was doing my creative court and stuff, but I didn't ask you this when you was on, but I have one. If today I came at you and said, "Hey man, I'm interested in this space. How do I get started?" What would be your biggest advice to someone starting out in the space or just listening in right now, going, "Man, I wish I had the guts to do what these two are doing or what he's doing right now. Like, how do I get started?" Like, what would you tell that person?
No matter how shit you think you are, just do it. Because there are people that put a lot less effort or time or thought into stuff and they get a lot of views. They get a lot of people checking out their stuff. If you really care about this kind of stuff, hit up or try to find people like me or Sensei or King David or like don't be afraid to use your resources. That's what Twitter and stuff like that is for. Like people think Twitter and people think Twitter is a place to like post or talk your shit. No, it's a way to communicate with others. Use that to your benefit. Do not like if somebody has their messages open, it's for a reason. They either don't know it's open or they're anticipating
And they'll
getting
let
a
you know.
message. Yeah. Or they're anticipating somebody to reach out or say something to them. If you come correct, and by that I mean if you talk to people with respect, they will treat you the same way. Not every single person. No, not every single person. Hell, some people might make you kind of mad, But I mean, that's life. I mean, in what part of your life have you not, found yourself getting frustrated at somebody or whatnot? So use that social media, take advantage of it. Don't be afraid to reach out and just do it. Like Nike says, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Because I can give you all the advice that you want. And, I can say, yo, that video that you did, or, let me see your work. Oh, that video is dope, or you need to fix this and that. Like it doesn't matter unless you continue on with it and stay consistent. And I think as for like, real talk algorithm and kind of stuff, like it's all about consistency. It really is all about consistency and kind of reading your audience. Like I could and Sensei said it earlier, like we could be, bigger if we wanted to in a certain aspect if we took somebody else's, ideas and ran with it and whatnot. But I think the best way to gain your, crowd is authenticity. So I gave you 3 things right there. I said use your crowd. Use your crowd in social media to your advantage. Just do it and be authentic. Those are the 3 things that I would tell anybody to do. Because if you're not authentic, you're just gonna fuck up eventually.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna and I don't know. I mean, there's just so many people out here being authentic as it is. If you come disingenuous, it's gonna show one way or another. It's gonna come back around. All right.
I watched the video before we go. I watched the video very recently where they said because it was in response to, well, how about if nobody likes what I do? And the guy, I forgot who it was on TikTok. Yes, TikTok. I watch TikTok. But it's been giving me great advice, by the way. But this guy on TikTok answered a reply to that saying, if you like what you see yourself, chances are there's people out there that's gonna like it too. There's
Facts.
no way you could put content out there that you like and you feel comfortable with that somebody else is not gonna like. There's no way. You're gonna get at least 10, 12 people to like what you put out there. It may not be the viewership you're looking for, but you build on that. You build on that. But man, those are 3 good points you put out there, man. I appreciate that. Like that, because a lot of you'd be surprised how many people reach out and go, hey man, when did you get started? And when I say I just started like last March, they'll be like, huh? Wait, no, you've been doing this for quite a while. No, my YouTube has been open since 2012, but I've been creating content since last year. That's it. And my opportunity was the pandemic, literally the pandemic. When my job said it's time to work from home, I took that opportunity to do what I love. I was like, well, I'm already sitting in front of a camera. I'm a corporate trainer. I talk to people. Why not put it on video? And I put it on video, and here I am. But man, those are 3 good advices, man.
Appreciate it. Any other questions before we get out of here?
Oh, that's it, man. Chat was beautiful today, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys that came out, man. They were beautiful. This year was in the making for quite some time, and I'm just happy that we were able to finally sit down and have this conversation, man. It was long overdue. Really appreciate you inviting me, man. And anytime you're asking, hey, Sensei, I don't even let you finish your sentence. I said this to PTK. I was on his show on Saturday.
Yeah,
He literally, when he invited me, it was 3 dots. Like you said, hey, Sensei, on Twitter DM. Like you said, reach out. You never know. And I saw the 3 dots after the hey, Sensei, and I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Literally, without him asking, I feel like an idiot. I'm like, oh shit, I'm being, forward here. And he goes, yeah, I was gonna ask you if you want to come to the show, and I'm like, shit, my bad, man. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to like pre-text you, man. And my man goes, no, man, it's all good. I was excited because it feels good to have those conversations with people, man. Like it's what we do. It's why we do it, man. It's because we are talking to each other about games. Think about that. We could be talking about anything else in the world, and people are talking about anything in the world. With all the garbage that goes on in the world, all the nasty stuff we see on our faces, that we have an opportunity for 2+ hours to sit here, almost 3, and talk about video games, share that joy, experience, and everything we've been through with this, and then share with a whole chat. Come on, man. That's an experience in itself.
Absolutely. And yeah, it feels great too. It feels great to be able to reach out to people, hear what they think, whether it's in text or on camera or in a space or just in a message or something like that. Like just connecting with people and having it be something that you actually enjoy, like doing, and are passionate about. It means the world because, as you said, there's always just so much stuff going on. There's always something wrong,
You count on it. You could wake up today, turn on anything, a phone, a tablet, a TV. You're gonna see bad. You just gonna see it.
I mean, it's there. If you're hungry to see something awful, you don't have to look very far.
Nah.
Not at all.
Not at all.
All right. So the very last thing I got for you is I want you, for me, to describe gaming in just 3 words, brother.
I'm gonna be real cheesy with this. Awesome, amazing, and I'll take a Vin Diesel line. It's about family.
Oh Lord!
It's always been about family, man. The gaming, it sounds cheesy, man, but I've built families doing this, man. Like not even blood related, but I built families off of this, man. Like I have. So that's the 3 words I have for you, man.
He said it's about family.
It's about family.
Oh man! Shout out to Vin Diesel and shout out to Ark Survival Evolved 2.
Ark Survival.
Yeah,
excited,
I'm so excited. Oh,
yeah.
I'm stupid excited. I've said it many times on my podcast, and I'm saying it now. I put over 130 days into that first one, and I'm ready to put double the amount of time into the next one.
There's a few gamers I know, including yourself, that has put that many hours into that game. I'm more excited about Ark than I am about that card game, the Marvel card game.
Oh yeah, I mean that's not hard to do right there.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's true.
I see one last question in the chat that I'm gonna hit before I get out of here, and it's from Two Bigs. whack ass. He said, I love Too Big's my boy, dude. I love that dude.
Okay.
But anyways, he said, Ham, why are you a Nats fan? I guess, which is a Giants hater. But
I don't think he did he mean Giants?
yeah, he meant Giants. Because he's an Eagles fan. Of course, he's gonna call the Giants Nats because they little and bugs, and he's being a hater. But I tell you what, man, I became a Giants fan once they got Eli Manning, and then I became a massive Giants fan. I became a massive Giants fan when I figured out that they were going up against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and then they pulled it off. Not once.
You mean the 16-0, the 16-0 Tom Brady?
Yeah. See you later,
Patriots?
Randy. See ya. Sorry, Moss. You got mossed. Moss got mossed.
Moss got mossed.
Yep, he did though. I mean, did you see that David Tyree catch
Yes.
on the top of the head? You got mossed, right?
Yeah. New York is famous for those type of plays though, because either football or basketball, the John Starks left-handed dunk back in the days with the Chicago Bulls when he dunked on Jordan and Pippen and them back in those days. And then you got that catch is infamous. It'll be forever recorded in the sports history books. That catch on the 16-0 Patriots who lost that Super Bowl. They lost that Super Bowl. Anytime a Patriots team lose Super Bowl, I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Because at the time I hated Tom Brady because I just hate the Patriots. I don't mind him so much now because he's not on the Patriots, so it's just like whatever. I don't care anymore.
Their average team.
yeah. Like the divorce has happened and I am happy. but anyways. I need to do what I always tell people to do, and I really appreciate everybody that's in the chat. Sensei, please go on ahead and let everybody know one last time where they can find you so I can go on ahead and carry us up out of here.
Appreciate you for inviting me, brother. Like always, you can catch me on Twitter talking my version of talking shit, which it's under Sensei, just at Sensei. You can find me there, SenseiK1lls, K with number 1 as the I, double S. And then on the YouTube side of things, I have my own channel. I do podcasting about gaming, Xbox centric, but I'm not afraid to talk about everything else in between. But you can catch me there 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays with my co-host Logic. We co-host a show there, and then I have my daily content I drop every day from Monday to Friday. That's usually a game that's on my radar that I'm interested in and I'm hyped about, and I go ahead and do a 4-minute short form video on that. And then you can catch me guest spotting on other shows. I did PTK this past Saturday. I'm on Ham Solos this week. I don't know when I'm gonna be next week or even next day. I don't know. Whoever invites me. But I appreciate you guys for pausing your life for about 2 hours, almost 3 hours now, pausing your life from the everyday bullshit that goes on there and coming in here and allowing us to entertain you for these almost close 3 hours, man. We do this for the love of it. We do it for the passion of it, and we are authentic as and genuine as they come. So I appreciate you guys coming in, and I thank you, Ham Solo. Keep doing what you do, brother.
All right. Yeah, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your originality. But anyways, with that being said, I got 2 more episodes of Behind Them Sticks coming out later this week. It's gonna be a busy Thursday, so tomorrow you're gonna probably catch me not streaming or not doing shit. I'm gonna probably be playing something relaxing like the Walking Dead series or something, just to not do anything tough, because Thursday is gonna be a wild one. I got Mr. Chivalry coming on 7:30. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, and then I got J-Rock capping off the evening at 9:30 on Thursday as well. So back-to-back shows. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be wild, but it's going to be fun. And you know I'm going to keep it original. And as you guys know, this is Ham Solo 05 saying see you later. Keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all. Have a wonderful night.
Later, guys.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me. to me. Lennard Ray. That's your name. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you quit playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it, boo. See, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor, and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet, and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it, that shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you quit playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Look, I see your swag different. Always carry yourself like you ready, you on a mission. I had to know you, I'm tempted. I can see why you timid. Hold up now, baby, listen. Just take that dance with me, I can show you that there's a difference. I'm locked in. I throw away my playaways because you pop in. A shooter always shoot a shot. With you by my side, I guarantee we'll reach the top. I put that on God and then I'll give you all that I got. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of